when they began removing the chairs along the boulevard. Our crack investigative team is on that. We'll have lots of information for you about that story. Also, yesterday was just kind of a weird show all the way around. It started out being weird when we didn't get the guests we thought we had scheduled, and Kurt Kelly got tied up, and then we had the mayor in talking about the parade route and what a tradition it was to put your chairs up in advance, when suddenly we got a text from Jay, a friend of the show, said they got chairs in the compound over here. They're taking chairs up, and Kent Gwynn's eyes popped open. What? And then we had the little frantic moment when I got 2 calls from New York City during the show, and I couldn't take them, and I called them back at 5 minutes to 5, and it was the Heisman Committee saying that my votes had not been received for some reason, technological problems. So we scrambled around and got those votes in. And just so you know, I'm not going to reveal my votes, but Colin Klein was on my ballot before anybody jumps on me about it. So it was a weird day, and then, of course, Woody Page came aboard and had a nice conversation with Woodrow. Just turned out that was how many wins for him, Tom, in a row?
427.
His 427th win. We're watching him on TV as we're interviewing him. He's telling us, I'm going to win today if you want to go bet some money. So it was just kind of a weird day. But you see what happens, Hunter, when our friend Kurt Kelly doesn't show up?
Throws the whole show off, buddy.
Throws it off. And get this. The poll shows today that if fiscal cliff negotiations fail, Republicans likely to get blamed.
Well, of course.
Yeah, that's what it says. The poll shows. So
that, of course, there's no doubt about that, because the Senate is controlled by the Democrats, the White House controlled by the Democrats. They're getting along. They are on the same page. The people that aren't on the page are the House-controlled Republicans.
Yeah,
so.
we're going to discuss that a little bit later on in the program and that story. And then a second poll which shows just how low can they go in terms of a popularity poll. Congressmen are right down near the bottom. They're one step away from the bottom of the poll in terms of people who are least trusted professionals. So that's how things are going in Washington, as if we needed a poll to tell us that. And finally, I haven't run out of gas in a long time. And today, on a trip to Tampa, I take my wife down to see a foot doctor down there. She was driving the car coming back because I was actually working, putting the show together, and she said, "You didn't tell me about the gas." And I said, "I'm not driving the car." Yeah, but you didn't tell me. I said, "I didn't know. I couldn't see it." We look down, and we have a little gauge that tells you how much you got left. And when you got a gallon left, it tells you got 30 miles. This had straight lines, nothing. Wow. In the middle of
on the interstate
I-75, when you have almost no gas stations. North of Tampa, past Wesley Chapel, when you're like 60 miles out.
There's nothing.
Nothing.
But before you get to the next gas station is exit 301 Brooksville.
No, there's actually another one.
What, 309?
No, it's actually, I don't know the exit number. I can tell you it's the Dade City exit.
Yeah, Dade City, St. Leo. Yeah.
And it's 26, I think, is the name of the highway. Anyway, it's in the middle of nowhere, and there's nothing around it, and you got to turn off of it, and you got to drive 2.5 miles. I'm thinking, okay, shall we put the windows down and
turn the air off?
Turn the air off and put out the feet on the door and push it, whatever, to get there, so you don't have to walk 2.5 miles. Anyway, we managed to get there, and I ran across a very unusual sign, which I'm going to tell you about. It's just something that, for some reason, in that country setting, in a general store type place, I wasn't really expecting to see this kind of sign, and it had a lot of conventional wisdom in it. So I'll tell you all about that as well. We come back on the show today. Certain things you don't do as a mayor or a city manager or whatever, and something you don't monkey with, and whether or not this turns out to be one of those, we'll find out. But removing the chairs along the boulevard for the parade is not a popular thing today with a lot of people.
No, I would guess not.
Now, I've known a couple other mayors who've made decisions like that. Now, our mayor didn't make that decision. I want to point that out. We're not sure who did, but he didn't. But it can cost you in a big way. And one of the mayors who did something in Ocala, he learned never to do again and almost learned to live to regret, was the moving of Halloween. which didn't work out so well. And
how do you move Halloween?
Well, we just say we're not going to have it that night. We're going to celebrate another night. So Gerald Lurgle will tell us about that, and he may have a little information inside the Beltway on what took place there. And meanwhile, our crack investigative team, headed up by, they call you Little Tommy, or
that's what it was.
Little Tommy. He was going up to Big Tommy. He's been out and about. He's been out scouting. He's got information. He'll tell you about, what should we call it? The Christmas parade share caper?
Yeah,
something like
that. Just don't use the word gate.
Yeah, we won't use gate. And finally, different twists to what was and continues to be, for me, a heartwarming story about a cop and a shoeless man in New York City. I'll tell you about that coming up next as well, right here on the Voice of Ocala. So stay tuned. Soon to be 96.3, but now 96.7
and 1370 AM. WOCA, the source.
Every day we hear another story about innovation or about cutting-edge technology taking place right here in Ocala. The power plant, IHMC, Ocala 489. Did you know that important medical research is also being conducted here that may impact hundreds of thousands of people in the country someday? Maybe you've heard the name Renstar, but like so many others, perhaps you didn't realize that Renstar Medical Research is one of the top facilities of its kind anywhere in the U.S. There are important research studies being conducted by a highly qualified team of medical experts at Renstar, impacting decisions of major pharmaceutical companies and bringing new drugs to market. And you can be a part of these studies, as so many local people have done and are currently doing. Renstar has conducted more than 500 studies since its inception and would like to extend the opportunity to you to be a part of these cutting-edge programs. Call 877-629-5800 or 352-629-5800 if you'd like to know more. Renstar Medical Research, locally owned and operated in beautiful downtown Ocala. Renstar, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Hi, I'm Buddy Martin. It's a privilege for me to be able to wish the folks in my hometown a wonderful holiday season. I've spent many Christmases here over more than a half a century and can tell you there's no place quite like Ocala this time of the year. From Light Up Ocala to the Christmas parade to the numerous charitable events in this community, Ocala fairly sparkles. But there's nothing quite like our holiday spirit. Enjoy it, revel in it, and pass it on. It's one of the greatest gifts we can give each other. Merry Christmas. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And State Farm agent Angie Lewis is always there, too, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. At the Angie Lewis State Farm Agency, they go far beyond any slogan. Angie wants to help you adjust your insurance needs as your life evolves, from everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. They want to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. Each week on The Voice of Ocala, they feature a Good Neighbor of the Week, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. They're also big sports fans and sponsor our weekly State Farm State of the State report, which highlights a different college sports program each week. The Angie Lewis Agency of Ocala is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and the coffee pot is always on. Call your Good Neighbor State Farm agent today, Angie Lewis, at 291-2444.
Look who just walked in the room. Joel Wiesner from What's Up Ocala. Hey, Joel, I'm looking for something to do this weekend. You got any ideas?
Absolutely. Check out our event calendar online at www.whatsupocala.com, and there is plenty of events there for you. Daily news updates to event reviews and magazine articles.
Really?
We've organized it all in one place online for you to cut through all of the hassle of finding something to do this weekend. We have a daily event calendar, a bi-monthly magazine, and we also do daily news articles.
All right, Joel, that's perfect. Thanks so much.
Yeah, whatsupocala.com.
Rediscover the fun and adventure of Silver Springs, Florida's most natural wonder. You'll be amazed at the moments you'll share with glass-bottom boats, jungle river cruises, and wild animal shows. There's no place like it on Earth. And right now, Florida residents save half off daily adult admission to Silver Springs. Or for the best value of the year, get the all-new Platinum Pass, just $59.99. Your Platinum Pass comes with a full calendar of great concerts like Easton Corbin and Joan Jett. And you'll get a full year of special events, plus VIP entry, free parking with every visit, even a free Wild Water Season Pass. All yours with the Platinum Pass. Buy online now for just $59.99. So make your own special memories at Nature's Theme Park, Silver Springs. east of Ocala on State Road 40 or on the web at silversprings.com.
Hey, this is Eric Harley.
And I'm Gary McNamara from Red Eye Radio.
And while the other stations may be playing reruns overnight, we know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday.
Right here on WOCA, 1370 a.m. and 96.7 FM. The Source.
WOCA.
This is JJ Lesov in the WOCA studios with this news update brought to you by the Country Club of Ocala. According to Ocala.com, a Silver Spring Shores man upset that the Redskins had beaten the Giants fired multiple shots at sheriff deputies who came to his home early Tuesday after his wife called 911 to report domestic violence. No deputies were hit. After evacuations and an hour-long standoff, Richard Brockria surrendered and was charged with 3 counts of attempted homicide on a law enforcement officer. This news update was brought to you by the Country Club of Ocala. If you would like to schedule a special event at one of Ocala's premier facilities, call 352-237-6644 today.
Yeah, those Giants fans, a little testy after that loss last night. Local fans didn't know we had that many Giant fans, but apparently this guy was upset. Speaking of football, this news bulletin just in. Tom, what you got?
Wisconsin coach Brett Bielema is no longer the Wisconsin coach. It is being reported by ESPN and the AP that a source has said that he is going to be the next head coach at the University of Arkansas.
Wow. That's an odd jump right there.
Well, he owns a 68-24 record, 7 seasons at Wisconsin.
7-5 this year, but he
Well, they're 8-5 this year.
Yeah, I guess that was 7-5 for last week. Yeah,
right. So, but they're going to their third consecutive Rose Bowl.
Yeah, they did kind of back the end this one though.
Right, but he's
Penn State and Ohio State couldn't. But anyway, yeah,
doing a pretty good job at Wisconsin. Shows you it must be all about the SEC.
Could be. We'll talk about that and also some other news about Charlie Strong. I got a call from Knoxville last night in the Sports Hour. I'll tell you all about that. Meanwhile, catching up with some of the things here before we go to our crack investigator, and also tell you why Tom needs to get a headache. I want to get back to these stories about the polls. Republicans in Congress could shoulder most of the blame for the failed fiscal cliff negotiations, according to the Washington Post story. And we talked about the fiscal cliff yesterday with Democratic State Committeeman Rick Perry and CF Professor Jay Thompson. The polls, 53% of the majority of Americans say congressional Republicans would be more to blame if leaders failed to hammer out a deal, while 27% would blame President Obama. Democrats are mostly likely to fault the GOP, naturally, we expected. So anyway, that's one poll there. And the other poll we're talking about comes from the Pew poll, PEW, members of Congress among the least trusted professionals. 53% of Americans said that they voted that the least trusted people in the country were, guess what? What profession would you guys say?
The least?
Yeah.
Lawyer.
Least trusted.
Lawyer.
Nope.
Lobbyist.
Nope.
Politician?
Nope.
Talk show radio host.
Yeah, that could be right out there.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that the poll showed that the politicians and congressmen were just one notch above the bottom. The bottom was car salesmen.
All right.
And they were just above that. I imagine probably if you went on down there, you'll find journalists and lawyers somewhere right down there.
And by the way, Chris Spears is a good man.
He is a good man. I thought about him immediately. He is the exception to that rule. So just a little ditty there I want to tell you about. Also, I want to tell you about this sign I saw. And then Tom is going to tell us about his headache when he's trying to get a headache. And then we're going to get into his crack investigation of the missing chairs along Silver Springs Boulevard. When I went out, I turned to this country road. There aren't many of those two-lane roads you see off the highway too often. And I drove down 2.5 miles. I got to the gas station. It was one of those, two-pump deals. And I thought, gosh, I hope they take credit cards here. You never know.
Come on, buddy. It's not that bad.
Well, wait a minute. They didn't take my debit card. So for what I said, so I said, all right, I put my other card in there, and they took that. But as I was looking at the gas pump, I saw a sign which I thought was a little unusual, and pretty cool. I mean, in a way, if you think about it. And JJ, I know this will affect you a little bit, but the sign said 2 weeks of smoking cigarettes could pay your cell phone bill. Now, I don't
smoke that much.
I'm a reformer smoker. Well, I'm not saying just you, anybody. I mean, I used to smoke years ago, and at that time I had, cigarettes were not that expensive, at least. And I thought, I don't even know how much a pack of cigarettes costs. So I looked it up, and I got kind of a rule of thumb. How much you guys, JJ?
Between $6 and $7 most places.
Is it that high? I thought it was like a little above $5.
No.
Do you know, Tom?
You hear people going like, I was standing in line at a local drugstore here earlier today, and a lady asked how much the pack of Marlboro Lights were, and they were $5.35.
Yeah, because I thought
I actually heard that.
I was going to say $5, but and they said above $7 in New York. But anyway, the point is there are a lot. So do the math. If you smoke a pack a day,
wow,
here you go. Look, Hunter, do the math, right? 35, 70. You paid for most phone bills at $70.
My dad set me down when I was 12 years old. And that's what got through to me about cigarettes. It wasn't your friends aren't cool and stuff like that. He literally sat out there with $1.90 a pack. And I remember he said, your mom and I both smoke 2 packs a day. That's 4 packs of cigarettes at $1.90. That's what rounded up to $8. He said in 10 days, that's $80. In 30 days, that's $240. In 10 months, that's $2,400. And this was back in 1978 with $2,400. He said, see what you can buy for $2,400? And he opened up a Auto Trader, a car sales book, and you could buy nice, almost brand new cars for $2,400. He said, see what 1 year cigarettes could save you?
Yeah, well, did he quit smoking?
No, and my mother died of pulmonary problems. But you know what I did was I dipped.
Yeah,
time I was 12 till I was 17. Yeah. You know what made me stop?
That it's gross.
I went to the Jiffy store, and the lady said $2.11.
Yeah,
I said, huh? It's $1.89. She said, not today. I said, not anymore, and just quit just like that.
Yeah, so the old saying, going up in smoke, there's a reason they say that old saying, going up in smoke. And, and here's the thing that got me by the sign. You grew up in Georgia. There's some rural places there, too. And usually those little gas stations like that, they're very pro-tobacco.
Oh, yeah.
They sell everything
cheap
there.
Got cheap cigarettes and signs all over the window.
And so I'm thinking this is an unusual place to see a sign with so much wisdom that says smoking 2 weeks should pay for your cell phone. Anyway, just
why would they have a sign like that?
I don't know.
You never asked anybody about it?
No, there's nobody there. I never saw anybody. I just put my card in, got my gas, and left. And so, anyway, I had plenty of gas left, by the way. Half a gallon. No worries.
No problem.
Oh, you were good.
Yeah, I was good. Now, my wife didn't see it that way. So anyway, that's the deal on that. Now, coming up in a couple of minutes, we'll talk with Tom about his investigation and what's happening. And again, for those people just tuning in, it was a bit of a surprise to the mayor yesterday when we heard that the long-standing tradition of putting your chairs out early on Silver Springs Boulevard. I don't do that, by the way, but many do. It's been doing it for years and decades. Took a little bit of a hit yesterday when unannounced the city came in, picked up a lot of them, I'm not sure how many, Tom will tell us, and hauled them off to the pound and said, if anybody wants them, they can come get them.
Well, they didn't haul them off to the dog pound, buddy. Pound.
Well, the city compound.
The city compound.
Regardless of where they hauled them off. It's irrelevant.
Stacked them up.
Yeah, I know. And I got an eyewitness report from a guy who was there who texted me, and we put it on the air. My question is, how were people ever going to know in the first place? Because I never saw the story. Was it in the Star Banner today? I don't think so. Locals take out parade viewing spots, and there's anything about it in there that I saw. So I'm still thinking, how are they still going to know why their chair's not there?
Because we told them yesterday.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we only have 15 listeners.
Well, that is a problem. So, but if they tell 2 friends, and they tell 2 friends.
Yeah, there you go.
They tell 2 friends, and so on, and so on. You remember that commercial?
I do.
The Breck commercial?
I do. So anyway, we will give you that full report here in just a moment, and our duty is to give you the news as we're going to try to do and keep you informed in that and let you know what the latest is and what the next move would be.
It's one big headache, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Tom, isn't it about time for you to get a headache?
I don't want a headache, but I am doing a headache study for Rinstar Medical. Great people, by the way, Rinstar.
Did they choose you because you work with me, or
No. I'm
your biggest headache?
I suffer from migraines, and they were doing a study on how to prevent migraines. Mm-hmm. And I'm all for preventing a migraine. Believe me, I know you're not a migraine sufferer, but
I hit the flashing lights.
Trust me,
not the head, not the
when
pain.
you have a migraine,
I've heard.
You want nothing to do with anybody, anything. You really just want to lay in a bed and hopefully pass away. It hurts so bad. Mm-hmm. So the problem I'm having is there's a period where you have to call into them every day and tell them how you're feeling, and hopefully they want you to have a headache within this 30-day period. I'm now 17 days into it and hadn't had a headache yet.
Now, how did you get picked for this?
I actually called Rinstar.
Oh, you signed up?
I signed up. I'd heard.
Well, they're supporters of ours. They support us in high school football, which games that you did. So
I'd heard they were doing some different studies. They were doing a sleep study, and they were doing a headache study. They were doing 7 or 8 different studies. The only one that I really qualified for was the headache study. And I thought, well, if I can help come up, if studying me and my headaches can help come up with a way to prevent headaches for people, why not do it? Mm-hmm. And maybe get a little relief at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I went. It's very easy to do. I went and talked to the people at Rinstar, and they saw me right away, did some workup on me with some doctors and everything, and I've been doing it now almost a month.
So now, if you do this, you should call in every day?
I have to call in every day.
And do you get what about your expenses of driving down there and stuff like that?
I only have to go once a month.
Okay. Do they cover your gas expenses? Or
in some cases, they do.
Yeah.
This study, they do. They are covering expenses for showing up, and I am going to. They'll cover the expense of me calling every day. The next time I go, they'll cover that expense too. But it's very easy. You call into a phone bank, and you have an ID number and a PIN number, just like you would if you were calling into your credit card company. And they ask you a battery. My phone call, because I've been saying no, I don't have a headache. My phone call lasts about 35 seconds. It's very, very easy to do. It's just a phone bank, and then you go, and it's very easy to do, and it's going to hopefully it will accomplish helping people alleviate, migraine.
And this data will go where when it's done?
To the company doing the survey. We're not privy to the company.
Who are going to obviously try to come up with solutions.
Right.
Drug prescriptions. They have
this is my understanding is this is a test procedure on a treatment to prevent migraines.
But you don't know yet if you're taking when you start taking pills, if you take them, if they'll be real or not, right?
It'll be a double-blind study. If I have a headache and I qualify after 30 days, it'll be a double-blind study. So I have no idea.
Well, keep us posted on that. But
Rinstar does great work. And that's the amazing thing is you'd think you'd have to go to somewhere like Boston or New York or something for that. Right here in Ocala, you can help find answers to medical questions and medical problems right now through helping Rinstar.
Good to know. Appreciate that very much. All right, coming up at 3:30, former Mayor Gerald Ergel joins us. We'll get his take on what he knows about...
He canceled Halloween?
Yeah, he didn't move.
He moved Halloween.
Moved Halloween, yeah. We'll find out what happens when people make decisions like that. And I'll tell you about a mayor out in Denver who did that one time, did something like that, and it cost him his job. He didn't get elected next time. So we'll tell you more about that coming up on after the next break, right here on the soon-to-be 96.3, but right now it's
96.7 FM, 1370 AM, WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. I want to tell you about a conversation I had recently with General Manager Pat Murray on the great family atmosphere at Country Club of Ocala.
It's a family first club. Again, we have any number of different types of memberships, but obviously the one that attracts the greatest level of interest is our family. And the reason for that is we have a little something for everybody. I mean, we obviously have a world-class golf course. We have 7 tennis courts here for all levels of tennis players. We have a junior Olympic-sized swimming pool. We have a fitness center that's second to none, and we have state-of-the-art equipment in our fitness center.
Country Club of Ocala, where the facilities are all a family will ever need. For more information, call today at 352-237-6644. That's 352-237-6644. Country Club of Ocala, proud sponsor of Monday's Gator Report and Gator Talk Thursday right here on The Source. Hi, this is Buddy Martin. If you have an award or a trophy in your house, there's more than a good chance it came from BJ Trophies Gifts and Awards. At BJ Trophies, Floyd Hirschberger and his staff have a lot more than just trophies. Among the items they specialize in are donor recognition walls and trees, personalized or engraved gifts, cast bronze dedication plaques, wide format digital printing with posters, banners, and signs, and promotional products. Floyd is the official trophy and awards maker for the Voice of Ocala radio show and is North Central Florida's leader in custom recognition programs, corporate awards, industrial engraving, unique gifts, and advertising specialties. When Angie Lewis went shopping for something to award to the winners of her State Farm Good Neighbor Award, she shopped first at BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Check them out at 1735 Northeast Jacksonville Road on North Magnolia's Miracle Mile, or call them today at 352-732-2249. BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Trophies is just our middle name.
Hello, this is Dr. Riyad Fakuri, chiropractic orthopedist at the Fakuri Medical and Chiropractic Center. Listen in to the Head to Toe Care Show every Wednesday, 11 a.m. right here on WOCA. Learn how your body works so that you can help yourself. We're available to answer your questions every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on WOCA, The Source. That's Dr. Riyad Fakuri on the Head to Toe Care Show, 1370 a.m. and 96.7 FM.
Hi, this is Brad from Ocala Aviation. How would you like to have someone give you $4,000? Call me.
Brad, can't end the commercial that way.
Why not?
Because you have to tell them why you're giving away $4,000.
No, I don't. It's $4,000.
Yeah, I know, but for what?
Oh, I see. You mean like tell them it's for a flight scholarship that gives young people a chance to fulfill their dreams of becoming a pilot?
Yeah, something like that.
Nah, just give them the phone number. It's $4,000.
All right. What's the phone number?
352-861-7484.
Okay, that works.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Men are now just as likely as women to be binge eaters. The biggest difference between binging men and binging women is that men are less likely to think they have a problem, so they're less likely to seek treatment. Most job candidates believe they have to oversell their qualifications, but that makes you look nervous and disorganized. To keep yourself healthy, do this every week. Express yourself. A constructive argument with your spouse, family, or boss can actually increase your immune system.
On the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Compton, inviting you to join us on the Voice of Ocala to discuss a painful subject, pain, not a one-size-fits-all pain, because pain is very personal and comes in all forms. That's why we need to talk about where you're hurting, and we can find out why. Then I can recommend ways to help deal with it, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, the psychological pain of loss, or the pain of physical injury. And when we define your pain, we can begin looking for ways to treat it. Did you know that a lack of vitamin C can cause severely excruciating pain? So listen to my new show, Dr. Terry, on the first Friday of each month, live from Gateway Bank at 3:30. We're all in this together. There's a better way of living. Let me help you find it on the Dr. Terry Show.
Tune in and join Dr. Terry the first Friday of each month right here on The Source.
This is JJ the Sub in the WOCA studios with this news update brought to you by the Angie Lewis State Farm Agency. President Obama says he sees potential for averting the fiscal cliff in 28 days, but that no deal will get done unless Republicans consent to raise income tax rates on the top 2% of U.S. earners. Obama suggested that Republicans, who have opposed any increase in tax rates, were stifling progress in negotiations. This news update was brought to you by the Angie Lewis State Farm Agency.
All right, the results of the investigative team's work on the missing parade chairs caper coming up shortly. More details on this poll about the people who were on the bottom in terms of being trusted, most trustworthy. And then Gerald Ergel joins us to talk about what it's like when you make a mistake in a public forum, as he did once, trying to postpone Halloween, and what happens to people and what he learned from that. This poll, first of all, they took about the least trusted. Senators fared slightly better than Congress overall. 40% of the members said the Senate had very high levels of honesty. 45% said honesty and ethical standards were low or very low. You guys have any idea what professions? By the way, I was right about journalists. Journalists were right down there with politicians in terms of the least trusted for honesty and ethics, which is kind of surprising, but I understand sometimes why. So, who would you say would go into this poll as the most trusted that the public felt had high ratings for honesty? And take a shot at a profession. Hunter, what do you think? JJ, what do you think?
Doctor.
You say doctors? That's one.
Really? I don't trust my doctors.
Doctors is one. Not in Hunter's poll.
The most trustworthy people?
Yeah, the highest in this rating, most trustworthy, yeah.
Teachers.
Nice.
Correct. College teachers, it says here.
College?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I know about those.
I wasn't talking about that.
Hey, I'm just giving you their poll, guys. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just giving you the information.
Preachers.
Yeah, there you go, JJ.
Pastors. Yeah.
Religious.
Clergy.
Correct. Radio talk show host.
Absolutely. At the top of the list. No. And well, think for a second. Who are the people who are the heroes of every community?
Military person.
Police.
Yeah.
The police.
Firefighters.
I don't think
police are in there. Police officers are in there.
Wow.
JJ not in agreement.
Yeah. And surprisingly, pharmacists are in there.
Pharmacists.
Yeah.
Trust my
Yeah.
With the
put
way
a lot of trust in
with
there.
the way meningitis is breaking out everywhere for what that pharmacy did in Massachusetts.
Well, I mean, apparently they're doing a lot of good things. People trust them, so. And those are the highest. They surveyed 1,015 adults by telephone in November, and there's a 4% margin of error. So that's just a little information for you about the least trusted. Of course, Congress knew that already. Coming up, Gerald Ergel joins us in just a moment to talk about the poll. You want to give us your report now, Tom?
I can. If you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead and give us your report on the parade chairs.
I wrote up and
got to
down.
recap what happened, then tell them. Go ahead,
Right,
it's all
well,
yours.
It was reported yesterday that the chairs were being confiscated by the city, taking up from their places, which is a long-standing tradition that you set your chairs out for the Christmas parade. It's being reported yesterday that they were being confiscated. I contacted the city to see if that was actually true, and it was true. They had taken them all last week and were taking them yesterday, but they were not. They were going to end the taking up of the chairs yesterday, and you'd be allowed to let your chairs sit today through the parade. Today, I drove up and down the boulevard, and true to what the city said, chairs are being left alone, and there are chairs up and down the boulevard. If your chairs are one of the ones confiscated, you have to go to the city compound. They took special care, they say. I don't actually know how they did that without taking digital photographs or something, but special care to make sure that they were able to document where the chairs were and what they looked like so you'd be able to identify them. And I asked, who made the decision? I said, is Matt Brower, the city manager, to blame? And I was told that this was a decision that came about because it was pointed out to the city by the Ocala Police Department that these chairs in the right-of-way were a hazard this far out in advance of the parade. And so that after talks with the Florida Department of Transportation and the city, it was decided the chairs would be removed.
All right, now, did they say why they didn't tell anybody about it, or
they would not give me a comment on why it wasn't given to the general public that it was being done.
Because even now they haven't been told.
It was not told to me. It was not. I did not have anything on the record that says why they did it.
So there were
why they decided not to tell the citizens.
We don't know how many chairs were taken up. There was a pile of them, according to eyewitness who texted me yesterday. Several several trucks went out and got them and brought them in. So if you're missing chairs, I guess Hunter dig up the number for the city hall, will you? I guess we can give them a number and tell them where to call if you're missing some of your chairs on the boulevard. It's probably not going to play out to be a very popular move, especially if some of the people who put them there are seniors who haven't got time and money and energy to go hauling down to the compound to get their chairs. So
but
I got a feeling, I just got a little hunch here. And again, we have a lot of friends at City Hall. Somebody didn't think this one through.
Well, I can tell you this. Upon thinking about it, and before we go to Gerald Ergel, upon thinking about it, I can understand what you're saying, buddy, that people put those out and that's tradition. But I also understand what the DOT and the police department says. What if somebody's walking down the street or anything and, doesn't think very good, and they say, hey, I better be fun to throw this chair into oncoming traffic?
Irrelevant.
Not if it's your car.
No.
Well, let me ask you. Let me pose this.
Let me just say
Lori Gregory and your grandson Alexander were in the car that got a chair thrown through its windshield.
You're not hearing me.
Would you think it's irrelevant?
You're not hearing me. It's the reason it's irrelevant. It's not the point. The point is they didn't tell anybody. Whether it was right or not can be argued, and that's probably correct. But the way that was done without informing people,
the way it was handled was incorrect.
Correct, and that's why I said it's not. You can't argue. It's not arguable. But let's go to a guy who held the office of mayor, was on the city council, and once made a mistake by trying to move a certain holiday, and he remembers that probably of as well as anything he ever did as mayor of Ocala. Right, Gerald Orgel?
Absolutely, buddy. Trick or treat fell on Sunday night one time, and I thought it'd be appropriate to move it to Saturday night, so the kids wouldn't be up late, have to go to school next day. There was a lot of reasons why it sounded good, but believe me, that was probably the most controversial decision I made during my tenure as mayor.
All those times in 10 years, that probably got you more grief than anything else, didn't it?
Absolutely, and I even had people at City Hall say, for goodness sake, Mayor, don't ever do anything like that again. Our phones have been we haven't had time to do anything but answer the phones for that.
I'm wondering if they got any feedback down at City Hall. We should check with them and see if anybody has been calling at all. Have you heard about that, right?
Yeah, I did, and I called City Hall and talked to someone up there, the authority, and it was pretty much the way I understand it. There was an inquiry made from the police department, about, has anybody addressed any of the safety issues? And I'm sure it was just someone made a casual comment, but then FDOT got involved, and it kind of began, and once you talk about it, it's one of those things, buddy, that, you're not supposed to put stuff on the right-of-way. No one can argue with that. You shouldn't be putting stuff out there. It's not safe. It creates a hazard. But on the other hand, it's a tradition in Ocala for years, as far back as I can remember, that people have put their chairs out. And and I mean, I even think it speaks kind of well of the city of Ocala, the people here, that you can put chairs out and nobody will steal them. So I mean, I think it speaks well of the community that we can have a tradition like that. But I was told that, FDOT began to worry about wind. We get a thunderstorm in the afternoon, whatever. They blow all those chairs and stuff out in State Road 40, which is their responsibility. And so they had concerns about it.
Where have they been the last 20 years?
Well, the comment I got is that, it's kept getting earlier and earlier and earlier that the chairs get out.
Okay.
And probably from the conversation that I had, there is not going to be a statement anywhere that says it's okay to put chairs in the right-of-way.
Mm-hmm.
But next year there probably will be conversation that if the chairs are there more than a week before the parade, they will be picked up.
And that's fair. And I think that's all you could ask this year if people just would have known. But to unilaterally make that decision without warning, at least that's to my knowledge, nobody was warned. I think that was a faux pas, in my opinion.
Yeah. And buddy, I definitely don't disagree. I think that the tradition has been so long, and to start doing it without any notification is relatively unfair. And like I say, nobody wants to say that you can put the chairs out there, because then if they say that, then they're giving people the thought that it's okay and it's legal to put things in and block the right-of-way. And so, from what I gather, you're not going to get that type comment, but you will get a comment that says if they're there more than whatever, whether it be 3 days or a week, if they're there more than that period of time, they will be picked up. So, But no, I think it's unfortunate that it happened during the middle of the Christmas parade season with people's chairs out there, and it's a shame. And it's one of those government things that once several of them got to thinking about it, if they looked at the law, they felt like, hey, we need to do something. And but it's unfortunate they did it right in the middle of the Christmas parade season. That's my only comment.
Thank you, Gerald. Appreciate it. Good job.
Buddy.
All right.
See you.
Thank you,
Merry
Tom.
Christmas.
The same to you. Tom, good job on the report. That's it. Good job of getting out there and stalking the chair people. I want to tell you, coming up at 4 o'clock, Michael Jordan's in the studio.
Really?
Dr. Michael Jordan.
North Carolina gave him a doctorate degree?
Yeah, exactly. And he will be here. He is, of course, the hospital trustee at MRMC. I've asked him to come on and ask if he had seen the 60 Minutes segment, which Hunter called my attention to, and I watched closely a couple of times. There's a lot of feedback from that, by the way, since that happened. I don't know if you've been reading about it, but apparently it's been pushed back. The stock for HMA has dropped some. There's been some people who were kind of upset about it. And it also happens that HMA is one of the two companies bidding for control of Monroe. Now, when I talked to Dr. Jordan, he didn't have any searing comments, and he wasn't carrying a flag or condemning anybody about anything. I asked him if he'd come on and share his thoughts about it, because we're trying to understand operating hospitals for profit. Nothing wrong with that, as long as it's done right. But what happens when it goes sideways, like apparently it is done, if you believe 60 Minutes, at HMA? And the headline says, 60 Minutes says, HMA pressures doctors to admit patients defrauding Medicare. And there's an ongoing investigation by the Justice Department. So we're going to get into that a little bit here at the top of the hour. And we're going to ask Dr. Jordan to hang out with us for a little bit and kind of catch up. He may have a guess. Catch up. You guys understand what's going on here? Hunter, I know you do because you watched it. Did you guys see it at all? Did you see it, Tom? The HMA thing on 60 Minutes?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, all right. So we'll have a discussion about that coming up at the top of the hour with Dr. Jordan. And we'll take a break, come back, and I'll do my, I'll save tweets and quotes till later. We'll just come back, catch up with some more comments after this time out on what will soon be 96.3, and now is
1370 AM, 96.7 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Hello, I'm Dawn Lovell, lead event designer and owner at Party Time Rentals. Have you ever wondered what it takes to make an event spectacular? Well, look no further. It's what we do every day, whether you're hosting an intimate dinner for 10 or a gala for thousands. At Party Time Rentals, we find just the right style and elegance to make your event a success. Our extensive inventory of the finest in chandeliers, tents, crystal, china, and specialty items is featured in our fabulous showroom. Stop by and say hello. It's a great way to get ideas for an event and experience for yourself how you can make your party time special.
Party Time Rentals, located on Southwest 10th Street, just off Route 200 in Ocala, and off Southwest 34th Street in Gainesville. For more information, call 352-629-8858. That's 352-629-8858. The party begins at Party Time.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance. Offers don't combine.
Ho, ho, ho. It's the holidays.
Hey, this is Santa. Chris Spears from Prestige. Auto sales are up 13% for the year, and interest rates are at an all-time low. I'm selling cars faster than I can get them, and I'm in a ho, ho, ho lot of trouble.
So this week, Santa is paying as much as double for your old sled.
Based on the nicer, newer car you choose, I will pay you up to twice the appraised value for your old car. Don't wait till next year to drive the car of your dreams.
Yes, you could get double for your old car right now. Plus, our For the People credit approval process can approve your credit whether you've been naughty or nice.
I need cars now. I'll pay you a lot more for your old sled, which means you can drive a nicer, newer car today.
Hurry, the ho 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 ends once Santa has a ho 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 lot of cars.
I'm Chris Spears, and I'm a dealer for the people. Visit me at Prestige Auto Sales in Ocala or Bellevue.
Or call 694-1234. See you at Prestige.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a toilet was flushing. The plumbing was out. The stockings were dirty, no water to clean. We were in a big mess with no washing machine. The children were nestled all snug in their beds. while visions of showers danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap, I searched for my tools to try and fix the mishap. When up in the attic there arose such a clatter. The pipes had burst. I see what's the matter. Away to the phone I flew like a flash to call Mike Scott Plumbing. They'll be here in a dash. He arrived in his van and got the job done, for he knew down the road he had more to come. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Because accidents don't work around your schedule, but we do, with no extra fees for nights, weekends, or holidays. From all of us at Mike Scott Plumbing, happy holidays.
On the next AM Ocala Live, Robin and I will be speaking to Rebecca Viges, coming out to speak about the book Cold Case, Sleeping Dogs Lie, the second book in the Mary McVannell series.
Richard Paul Evans, the king of Christmas fiction, will be on the air with his new book, A Winter Dream.
And then Open for Debate, where we get to debate something that is in the news.
David Ortman and Richard Sprott will be on the air speaking about their new book, Sexual Outsiders.
And then Rabbi Yossi Hecht will be on. He's the rabbi of Chabad Lubavitch Jewish Center of Marion County, coming out to speak to us about Hanukkah.
Dr. Donna Kamor is a contributor to The View. She'll be speaking about the new national campaign for restless leg syndrome called Choose Your Move.
And then Troy Duell will be with us. He's a researcher and a developer of effective natural protocols for prostate health.
Have all of your legal questions answered by attorney John Fuller on Legally Yours.
From the top of your head to the tip of your toe, it's the Head to Toe Care Show with your host, Dr. Riyad Fakori. All of that plus Fun with Joe right here on The Source, WOCA 96.7 FM.
1370 AM.
WOCA.
Coming up 4 o'clock, Dr. Michael Jordan will talk about Monroe and the people who are talking about possibly leasing this place and what the story on HMA health management meant on 60 Minutes. Give you our interpretation of that, or I'll give you mine. And Dr. Jordan will explain to us the process. He's a trustee at MRMC. I want to get back to a story that I really talked a lot about because I thought it was a very touching story. We all know about it by now, about the homeless man who was in this widely circulated photo who got a New York City boost from a cop, New York City police officer. Very touching, and a very touching scene of him putting the boots on him, and a very sad ending. But then in reality, what does it mean, and what is the lesson learned here? Turns out that the man who was shoeless, Jeffrey Hillman, isn't actually homeless. He has some housing. I believe it's the Bronx. I read someplace, but apparently he's an Army veteran, and it was homeless for a while, and they got obtained a Bronx apartment secured by the Veteran Affairs, and his rent is paid by a lifetime voucher for homeless veterans. But anyway. The deal is that there's one story going out says that the next time they saw him, he didn't have the boots. And according to what he told the New York Times, he hid the boots because they're worth lots of money. Now, there's another quote I don't have in the story that I read that basically said, "I want a piece of that action on that photo. You know, I'd like to have some money from that. It's not enough for me, etc." And that's disturbing, and it's too bad because it really takes away from I think a tremendous random act of kindness, which I'm big on, from a man, a cop who did something really special that touched a lot of people. Or does it? In the end, and I'll address this a little bit later in the program, does it really matter about the act itself? Because the cop is still to be commended for doing what he felt was the right thing to do. You can question whether it was the right thing to do. You can laugh and say sucker. You can say don't give homeless people anything. You can take that approach. In my mind, because a young policeman opened up his heart, spent $100 and put boots on a man who was cold, had feet that were freezing, had blisters on them, no matter what that guy does with that boots, the policeman did a wonderful thing, and there's a crown in heaven for him. You know, and like they say, no good deed goes unpunished. But the fact is, I contend the policeman did a great thing that touched a lot of people, and out of that will come a lot of good. Not so much for Mr. Hillman and what he did. Who knows why he did what he did? You know, I would say I've never walked in his shoes, but he didn't have any. No pun intended. Bottom line is that, was it good or bad? Was it the right thing or the wrong thing? And we'll address that issue in the second hour. We talk about that. We've also got tweets and quotes coming up at 4:30. We've also got
quotes.
We got trivia. Some trivia you've been hiding on us. We got some tickets to basketball game, which we got to give away.
We're going
to make it real easy for you. So coming up next hour, we'll have all that for you, and we'll share some stories. I don't know, quick comments, guys. I'll let you get yours in right now. You each got about 10 seconds. Bad deal or a good deal? What do you think of that story?
I think it's a perfect deal. You can't not. He did the deed. The deed's a good deed. You can't decide whether it's a good deed or not on how the person you did it for reacts. You helped your fellow man. That's a good deed.
JJ?
Of course it's good. He gave somebody shoes.
Hunter?
I think it's a great deal. I think it shows there's still kindness in Americans' hearts.
It gives you a pause to think about it, and then in the end, when you do that, you reach into your pocket or whatever you do, that's the risk you run. You may be taken, but sometimes you just don't care. You do the right thing, and the chips fall where they may. Coming up at 4 o'clock, Dr. Mike Jordan. Stay tuned to the program right here on the Voice of Ocala, soon to be on 96.3, now being heard on
1370 AM, 96.7 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens, there stood a log cabin made of earth and wood, where lived a country boy named Johnny B. Good, who never ever learned to read or write so well, but he could play a guitar just like a ring in a bell.
You know, Tom, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas out there, and I think of Christmas, I think about the fact that we're so blessed to be able to be on the show every day here on the Voice of Ocala from 3 to 6 every afternoon.
It's Christmas already, buddy. This is our second Christmas. 14 months we've been on the air.
I believe it's 16, Tom, but who's counting?
Without our sponsors and our listeners, none of this would be possible.
We'll tell you this much. We hope you have a great holiday. We certainly enjoy bringing you our program each day. We thank you for your support.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Are you happy with how much you're spending on car insurance? Or would you like to pay less? Allstate asked people on the street. Here's what they said.
Would I rather pay less? Yes. I'm going to go with less.
Is this a trick question?
Turns out, people would rather pay less. Good thing, because drivers who switched to Allstate saved an average of $348 a year.
$348? Oh, not bad at all.
And with Allstate, you don't have to cut coverage to get the price down. A local agent will help you get the protection you need and the discounts you deserve.
Who wouldn't want to pay less?
Dollar for dollar. Nobody protects you like Allstate.
Hi, this is Kevin McDonald. Don't wait. Get a quote today. Call me at 622-2333. Drivers who switch saved an average of $348 a year. Savings based on National Consumer Reported data for new policies in 2009. Actual savings vary. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Compton, inviting you to join us on the Voice of Ocala to discuss a painful subject, pain, not a one-size-fits-all pain, because pain is very personal and comes in all forms. That's why we need to talk about where you're hurting, and we can find out why. Then I can recommend ways to help deal with it, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, the psychological pain of loss, or the pain of physical injury. And when we define your pain, we can begin looking for ways to treat it. Did you know that a lack of vitamin C can cause severely excruciating pain? So listen to my new show, Dr. Terry, on the first Friday of each month, live from Gateway Bank at 3:30. We're all in this together. There's a better way of living. Let me help you find it on the Dr. Terry Show.
Tune in and join Dr. Terry the first Friday of each month right here on The Source.
Pooh-wee, honey.
honey, something smells real bad. And take a look at what's happening in the yard. What a mess. Guess it's time to have our septic tank pumped and our drain field checked. That must be why our toilets are gurgling. Call Mike Scott Plumbing. Get information on new septic systems, drain fields, and lift stations. They have the knowledge, material, and ability to handle any situation you have with your septic system. Call 866-314-4443 today for a free quote. And get Mike Scott Plumbing to handle your septic needs. Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it.
Tune in weekly to the Financial Safari and get that common sense approach to financial and retirement planning.
I mean, I like to have guarantees instead of hoping and praying when we're talking about retirement. The person who has you in the risk account doesn't want you to know about them. If you try to do everything yourself, you don't have a team behind you giving you the advice, but more importantly, telling you what's wrong. Just stop doing bad things in your portfolio could take the worry out of living in retirement.
The Financial Safari with Coach Pete D'Arruda and local trusted advisor Jean Ann Durrell. Saturday mornings at 9 on WOCA, The Source.
You need extra cash? Who doesn't? In a moment, I'm going to tell you how you can get extra cash by selling the stuff you no longer use. Think of the space you'll save and the cash you'll get from selling spare furniture, your last TV, kids' clothes, old cell phones, bicycles, lawnmowers, microwaves, even washer and dryer sets. What I'm talking about is ocalaforsale.com, the best place to buy and sell in Marion County. Click ocalaforsale.com to place a classified ad and turn your overcrowded garage and cramped closets into cold hard cash. ocalaforsale.com, bringing buyers and sellers together.
Pick up your copy of Lady Lake Magazine featuring local businesses and issues and written by local volunteers. Lady Lake Magazine has become a must-read in Marion, Lake, and Sumter counties, audited by Circulation Verification Council and serving the area for 23 years. Plus, Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. All we ask is that you tell them where you heard about them. Call Tom's Picks at 352-804-1223 and pick up your copy of Lady Lake Magazine today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
In Clark, we trust.
Hi, this is Clark Howard. I'm so excited to be on in Ocala, where I visit twice a year because I have relatives in Ocala, and it's great that my show is on every evening at 6 p.m. right here on WOCA, The Source.
Marion County's information station, WOCA, News Talk 1370.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
ABC News Now. I'm Daria Olbinger. The family doctor is going the way of the house visit. The American Medical Association says a growing number of residents or recent graduates from medical school are opting to be specialists instead, who could make a lot more money and who won't likely find themselves on call too often. It's a buyer's market now, but maybe not for much longer, especially for starter homes. Real estate website Zillow says the nation's least expensive homes rose more than 10% in price over the past year, as opposed to 7.5% for the most expensive ones. Big cities are doing all they can to keep the millennials from fleeing to the suburbs. Young professionals are entering their 30s, marrying and having kids. Urban developers are now focusing more on schools and playgrounds and building more townhomes and larger apartments. Prince William waved and smiled to onlookers after visiting his pregnant wife Kate at a London hospital today. Buckingham Palace says she will be treated for a severe form of morning sickness there for at least a few more days. This is ABC News.
This is a special announcement for anyone in America currently faced with overwhelming financial pressures due to back taxes owed to the IRS or to the state. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or other state agencies, tax resolution programs are now available that may help you deal with these problems and get your life back on track. If you currently owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, if you're receiving collection letters from the IRS or a state tax agency, if you've been threatened with wage garnishment or bank levy, or if you need to file years of late returns, well, time is not on your side. Take the first step toward resolution of these problems today by calling the Tax Relief Helpline now. This is the perfect time to build a plan that can get your life back on track. So make the call to the Tax Relief Helpline now.
Call 800-645-1792. The call is toll-free from anywhere in the United States. Don't wait. Call now. 800-645-1792. That's 800-645-1792.
I'm just sick of all the amateur stuff, you know? I mean, like, if I'm paying top dollar, I want a little production value, you know? Like some editing, transition, something, some music.
Don't worry. We didn't leave you.
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Our bosses say we gotta stay.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Bow to your sensei. Bow to your sensei.
It's time for the second hour of the Voice of Ocala.
Hoo-ah! You ever come across anything like time travel?
Come on, stick around. It's free.
If you win, you win. If you lose, you still win.
And like Ben says, hour 2, the Voice of Ocala. It's a Tuesday. We have hundreds of people here clamoring to get inside the studio. They heard about our next guest. They want to get his autograph. And it's the oldest joke in the world to this guy because he's heard it so many times. He said there's now a commercial out which deals with the same issue. His name is Michael Jordan. Hello, not the Michael Jordan basketball player. Doctor, how are you?
I accept my role in life. The only thing I can say is I had the name before he did.
There you go. And I'm sure you've seen the commercial.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I'm also Dr. J. If
you are?
Continuing the sports analogy.
Okay. Which one do you prefer?
Neither.
Neither.
Particularly.
Some people call you Mike.
Please do.
Some people call you Dr. Mike. Some people call you Dr. J, Dr. Jordan. It's good to have you back. Not the probably best of circumstances. Bloody but unbowed, shall we say. A valiant fight to keep Monroe as a public hospital. Apparently, and I say apparently because nothing's over till it's over, to quote Yogi Berra, that it's going to happen at some point. Monroe is going to become a privately held hospital and operated for profit, whatever have you. And I'd say this: we don't know what to expect, do we?
No, it's uncertain, but I think we are on a course. You know, we saw democracy in action. The people had an opportunity to vote on an issue, and they expressed their opinion, and we accept that, and we will move forward. And as you're indicating, in all likelihood, there will be a change in control, and that at this point, the most likely is that we will end up in a for-profit multi-hospital chain or system. Yep. And you're right.
All right, so let's put that on hold for 1 second and talk about you, because I've had you on 3 or 4 times. We've never actually talked much about you.
Now, you didn't tell me we were going to do this.
But I mean, aside from the fact that you're a great basketball player, I just want to say that I know you're a strong community member. I don't have your resume in front of me, but I know you've done so much work in the community. I don't know which. You have several charities you work with. I know that you supported. Is it Children's Home Society? Which one is it? I'm trying to think of.
No, I think what you're referring to, 12 years ago, the sheriff and other community leaders felt like we needed to have a children's alliance in the community that brought all these stakeholders together.
Correct.
And we serve as a communications vehicle for Children's Home Society and Arnett House and Boys and Girls Club, and provide the opportunity for them to work together on projects, to know what each one's doing, and to fill the gaps in, knowing what's not being done in the community.
Kind of a clearinghouse situation for kids that need somewhere to go, right?
That's right.
Which I commend you for. I know you were the Ocala Magazine Man of the Year in 2009. That you've been serving on the board. How long have you been on the as a trustee on the?
Well, I'm in my 8th year, and so my term of office by law ends this July.
And and you were a radiologist.
When radiology was just beginning here in Ocala, there were only 3 of us at that point doing radiology, and there are now 17 at Radiology Associates. You're right.
And I've had this conversation with you, too, about the quality of medicine in Ocala, the quality of health care in general, and I think most people I know in the profession give it high marks.
Oh, I think for a community of our size, we are truly blessed with the quality of the physicians, their education. I was amazed when I came here. I trained at Johns Hopkins, and there were other people from Mayo Clinic and Vanderbilt and Johns Hopkins. I mean, we've always had good medicine for a community of our size, and comparing it to other communities, I think we're very fortunate in that regard. And we have great hospitals as well.
And going back even to the 1890s, I remember reading a book here a year ago where there were some doctors, a few European doctors were here back then. There was a hospital here when very few communities had a hospital, and of course Monroe has a long tradition, and many of us are really nervous about what's going to happen to it. But anyway, we'll get into this whole thing in just a moment. But I'll just discuss just briefly for the break.
I got a call from this guy to your left, Hunter Turner. I call him Hunter Thompson Turner for obvious reason. He's such a rogue. And he texted me, actually, and said, are you watching this HMA thing? And I wasn't, because I was having dinner with some friends, and I had taped it, so I was good, or DVR'd it now, as they say. And I thought I'd get back to it. So I did that later that night about 9:30, and I watched this thing, and I don't want to overreact to it, but I mean, I was horrified. I mean, I'll just say it out. I was horrified by it, and again, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt here. This is not a jury. This is not a court of law, not the Justice Department at this point. This is an investigation by 60 Minutes. People have, and the institutions have been wrong or told wrong things, but it certainly looks like a clear trend here, and it's something I wanted to get a voice behind, because I don't have a lot of perspective on this, and I'm a novice in terms of healthcare. So that's why I've asked you to come and share a little bit of info about what you've seen it. I've seen it. Some things have happened now since then, and HMA, I think, came off not the better for this whole situation, which gives us pause to think now, okay, when they come to the table and they say they want to make a bid to lease, which really is in fact an ownership, because it'd be for 40 years, our hospital, what questions should we ask? Because there's a lot of them need to be answered. Fair enough?
I agree. So are we going to wait to
We're going to take a
get
break.
into that?
We're going to come back. We're setting it up. This is what they call in radio and television a tease. And we come back. Dr. Michael Jordan, retired, will have all the answers right here on the Voice of Ocala.
Yes, hold your breath.
1370 AM, 96.7 FM, WOCA, The Source. It's Saturday morning football season. Time to kick it off with some great food and one of your favorite beverages. But where to go? Well, try Brunch on Broadway. Check out Football Saturdays at Pie on Broadway every week at 10 a.m. for the perfect blend of football, food, and fun. At Pie on Broadway in downtown Ocala, we'll get you ready for all the big games with the live broadcast of Buddy Martin's Saturday Sports page on WOCA AM and FM. Saturdays are also good days to stroll around beautiful downtown Ocala. Head to the farm market on the square and then enjoy Brunch on Broadway just in time to watch ESPN's Game Day on one of our TVs. Of course, Pie is also a great place to dine for lunch and dinner the rest of the week, too. But Football Saturday at Pie on Broadway is special. Pie on Broadway, where you get to the college spirit with Brunch on Broadway as your pre-kickoff menu. Every day we hear another story about innovation or about cutting-edge technology taking place right here in Ocala. The power plant, IHMC, Ocala 489. Did you know that important medical research is also being conducted here that may impact hundreds of thousands of people in the country someday? Maybe you've heard the name Renstar, but like so many others, perhaps you didn't realize that Renstar Medical Research is one of the top facilities of its kind anywhere in the U.S. There are important research studies being conducted by a highly qualified team of medical experts at Renstar, impacting decisions of major pharmaceutical companies and bringing new drugs to market. And you can be a part of these studies, as so many local people have done and are currently doing. Renstar has conducted more than 500 studies since its inception and would like to extend the opportunity to you to be a part of these cutting-edge programs. Call 877-629-5800 or 352-629-5800 if you'd like to know more. Renstar Medical Research, locally owned and operated in beautiful downtown Ocala. Renstar, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
Hi, I'm Pat Murray, General Manager of the Country Club of Ocala, inviting you to pay me a visit at the finest country club in North Central Florida. Come see why our members and friends embrace the Country Club of Ocala as a beautiful, serene place for those with active lifestyles. We have it all, from our Blue Ribbon Golf Course to our superb facilities. When you want to enjoy golf, tennis, swimming, fitness, or dine on cuisine that is second to none in North Central Florida, the Country Club of Ocala is where you'll want to be. So call me, Pat Murray, at 237-6644.
Hi, this is Brad from Ocala Aviation. How would you like to have someone give you $4,000? Call me.
Brad, can't end the commercial that way.
Why not?
Because you have to tell them why you're giving away $4,000.
No, I don't. It's $4,000.
Yeah, I know, but for what?
Oh, I see. You mean like tell them it's for a flight scholarship that gives young people a chance to fulfill their dreams of becoming a pilot?
Yeah, something like that.
Nah, just give them the phone number. It's $4,000.
All right. What's the phone number?
352-861-7484.
Okay, that works.
jingle all the way. Happy holidays from all of us at WOCA.
This holiday season, take your gift giving to new heights with a Discovery flight from Ocala Aviation Services. Discovery flights allow you and a loved one to live the dream of flight and actually take the controls for only $75. You can't afford to miss this opportunity. Create a memory that will last a lifetime. Give something unique and special, the gift of flight. Ocala Aviation Services is a full-service aviation school and a Cessna Pilot Center. Getting your pilot's license can take as little as 30 to 90 days, lasts a lifetime, and financing is available. Call today, Ocala Aviation Services, 861-7484.
Hi, this is Alan Taylor. Do you want to know what flowers to get your wife on your anniversary? Or which feminine product might be the next big thing? Then don't listen to my show, for God's sake. But if you're interested in the latest and greatest in the automotive world, then tune in every Saturday morning for Motor Trend Radio, right here on WOCA 1370 AM and 96.7 FM, The Source.
Keeping you in touch with Ocala. WOCA.
Back with Mike Jordan, we're talking about the HMA story on 60 Minutes, the situation with Monroe, and the fact that obviously it's going to go, it's going to be run by a group, out-of-town group, obviously. One of them could possibly be HMA. There was a piece over the weekend on 60 Minutes, and Steve Croft interviewed over 100 former employees of Health Management Associates. And there were some startling results in there. Then among the charges were that they were basically trying to fill the hospital beds, stuffing the beds, and to get as many people in as to make as much money. And the doctors had a quota they had to get, and I think at one point it was 20%. And on and on and on. This thing, as you watched it, it was almost, it made your hair curl. And so I wanted to get first of all, Dr. Mike Jordan's reaction to the story when he saw it, and just simply what they uncovered in 60 Minutes. First of all, your thoughts about the HMA story?
Well, I agree with you, buddy. When I first saw it, I really was certainly concerned and even distressed. And I think the reality is at this point, the other side, i.e. the HMA side, has really not had the chance to explain their position. And I agree with you, we need to be careful and not rush to judgment. Mm-hmm. I think looking at it from its most negative point of view, the two things that bothered me was, is there Medicare fraud? And the compliance officer raised that question, and certainly the Justice Department and CMS, which oversees Medicare and Medicaid funding, I know will be particularly diligent in looking at that regard. Beyond that, the other issue was this relationship of the hospital administration to the physicians. They focused on the emergency room in terms of, really, you could almost call it browbeating on the part of the administration to direct the care of people, the patients who were in the emergency room. And they did it, as you were indicating, primarily by pushing them to admit patients that they, as physicians, did not think need to be admitted. That's at its worst. Does that extend, one has to know, does that extend to other administration-doctor relationships? Do they try to push the doctors to have the people leave the hospital before they really are time for them to leave? Doctors do not like non-doctors telling them how to practice. That is a serious issue. And I think in our community that does not happen. I've done some research in the last 24 hours, particularly in our emergency room. According to the doctor that leads the emergency room.
This means just in Monroe or other hospitals?
Correct. Well, I know particularly at Monroe is what I was looking at. There is no sense that administration is putting any pressure on the physicians beyond which is required by the law and is overseen by our medical executive committee. The doctors are making the decisions that we perceive at HMA are being made by administrators. So that's the worst case scenario.
Yeah, the bottom line, when the bottom line comes into question and overrides the oath, was the oath of Hippocrates, right?
Yeah, right.
Then certainly there's a conflict there for sure, and that appears to be on the charges as to what that was. I wanted to say first of all, who HMA is. They're out of South Florida. They're from Naples, and they have 70 hospitals in 15 states, and they're claiming that. They've had 30 experts look at their admissions data, and they have a response to that, and it says the data simply do not support the allegations, so according to what HMA said, and they're claiming that 60 Minutes grossly mischaracterized what goes on at the for-profit hospital chain facilities. This guy, Alan Levine, who we saw on, and I hate to say this, I hate to make judgments but when I looked at Alan Levine, listened to him, looked in his eyes, I just didn't feel comfortable with what he was saying. Maybe that's just my own paranoia. But anyway, said some of the doctors who spoke to Steve Croft had reasons for doing so, including ongoing litigation with the company. What do you see about that?
Well, I think we have to wait and see sort of how that plays out. You're right. HMA has aggressively denied the charges. An email and a news press release they sent out dealt with all those issues, and they basically covered themselves in all those regards. They say their statistics do not indicate that there's an issue. They are concerned that the doctors that were speaking out. It's interesting to note that Steve Croft talked to over 100 people. Yeah. Are all 100 of those people disgruntled? And he happened to only hit disgruntled people.
And he had some memos and emails to show some of the things
right. that only time will tell. I think the reality, though, and the thing that we need to look at is there's a somewhat similar situation going on down in St. Pete right now. They are purchasing 80% of Bayfront Hospital in St. Pete, a hospital very similar historically and with mission involved to our own hospital. And they're further along than we are. And what they're saying is we just need to do more due diligence than maybe we had originally planned to. And I think that's really sort of where we are. Bottom line, if you ask me to try to understand this, prior to 1965, when Medicare was passed by Lyndon Johnson and the Congress, there was nobody in a for-profit hospital situation. Either communities did hospitals or charities did hospitals because there was no money there. All of a sudden, with the passage of Medicare, this has become a great way to make money, and that's why we have for-profit hospitals now. And so their focus is their investors. They are working to provide good care, but at the same time, they are very focused on admissions and outcomes and revenue. And I think we really are seeing a culture right now that HMA doesn't stand alone. If you think back about the history of what even the companies that have been looked at our hospital, this summer HCA had an issue over overutilization of cardiac procedures that the New York Times reported. One of the other suitors of our hospital, CHS, has had a number of lawsuits against them. It turns out that not many of them ever get prosecuted to the point where they're found to be criminally negligent. These guys are just aggressive and will go at it as hard as they're allowed to go at it. And I think that's the difference between the Monroe mission, which is a community-based care for everybody, and the mission and the culture of for-profit hospitals, which is primarily, we're going to do good medicine, in quotes, but we've got investors that want to be reimbursed or they want to see their asset grow, and that's what drives them. And so HMA is not unique out there, and unfortunately, we may not like that philosophically, but again, we are left with the model we're operating under now cannot continue. We've got to make the best decision we can and go with somebody that we're not really in tune with from a mission point of view, but yet it's really at this point in terms of what's out there. And we haven't totally closed the door, if you don't mind me continuing to go on. We're down now to 2 suitors on the table, but we have instructed Ponder & Company, as well as the administration and the trustees' own consultant, to look and just be sure that there's no other not-for-profit that could possibly now be interested that wasn't interested 12, 14 months ago when we started, or another for-profit that again wasn't interested at that point in time and is interested now. We're looking at every possible alternative, and as the editorial in the Tampa paper says, just like at the Bayfront, they are going to be doubly diligent, but the deal's still on there, and we are going to proceed with these two companies. But we will, when we go off to visit these companies, we're going to be very attentive to see how the physicians like it. I think a lot of the trustees may be focusing on what dollar amount we're going to get from the hospitals. I'm more interested in being sure our physicians are comfortable with the change in control that we feel like we're going to have to make. So
there's no perfect marriage out there right now, so that's one thing about it. And we know that whatever it will be, it won't be 100%. Dr. Michael Jordan is our special guest today, talking about the story that broke on 60 Minutes about HMA. One of the companies said, that is one of the two companies talking
right.
to.
Yeah, we started with 4.
Right.
2 eliminated themselves after the process started, and we really are down only now to 2 companies, and HMA is one of them.
Dr. Jordan, the question.
Got to turn your mic on, Tom.
The question I have, and I like a community hospital because I like the fact that, it worries about the community. It doesn't worry about the bottom line, dollar bottom line. But I understand we put that to a vote, and that's not what's going to happen. It was voted down. So these are the options we're looking at. My problem is, and you brought up CHS, which is headquartered in Tennessee, and you got HMA, which is headquartered in Naples. Nobody's talking about what I saw. The thing I picked out of that piece was the ProMed software that both places use. Both places are being investigated by the federal government because of their use of ProMed software, which they say the software is telling them to do more tests in the emergency room and do more admissions into hospitals. I don't want a hospital to use a piece of software to tell me how to take care of me. And that's what it looks like both these companies are using.
I won't argue with you. And, along that same line, I was distressed where the software called for certain tests to be ordered before the doctor had ever seen the patient. And you can run a gamut of tests on everybody, and one gets the thought that this isn't for the patient's benefit.
It's for cash dollar
that's
benefit.
Right. And the way the Medicare is set up now, fee for service, you get paid for the tests you do. Now, that's something that's going to change, it looks like, with Obamacare. There's going to be a whole different methodology. But for the time being, it just, again, is another indication that what we're talking about, that the bottom line for them is primarily making some money.
Hunter, you had a question for Dr. Jordan.
My question is this: who is the other company that's involved right now?
Let me think. It's Duke Life Point.
Duke Life Point.
Right.
Have they come in as well? And are you guys going to go visit them and learn things from them?
Oh, yeah. Well? They both have made presentations to the board. In fact, the CHS did too. So we had 3 that made presentations about a month or 6 weeks ago. And then soon after that, for unknown reasons, CHS backed out. But no, the next step at this point is for us to be diligent, go to the hospitals, talk to all these people, and sort of see what the ground troops are saying.
You made an interesting point a moment ago about Medicare, which I want to follow up on, because with Obamacare on the table right now, and of course it's going to become law, and a lot of people are concerned about that, and they're going to have to cut Medicare, obviously. This is something, Medicaid, Medicare, whatever. We don't know what yet, but certainly there's an awful lot of testing. I'm on Medicare. I've never I never had so many tests in the last 5 years in my entire life. And now I want to take the test if they're necessary because I want to have a nice long life. But it seems like there's so much testing going on, and and again, like you say, there's a fee for testing, and that's built in the program. It feels like I love my doctor, by the way. I'm not accusing him of doing it. I mean, it feels like maybe that's excessive.
Well, that's right. And we are looking seriously at a number of different payment techniques or approaches with the Obamacare that are going to get away from this. And by and large, what we're talking about is there's several out there, bundling of payments, where maybe there will just be, when you come to the hospital, there will be the hospital or the government will make one payment, and it's divided amongst the hospital and all the doctors.
Really?
So that decreases the impetus for one doctor ordering a bunch. And one of the problems we have right now is a patient comes in the hospital and gets innumerable consultants. Well, that'll stop, because that's going to mean the little bundle of money that comes to the hospital is going to be divided amongst too many people. And so we are left with the impression there may be too many consultations. The other thing that's going to happen is there's a process called capitation, where
a scary term.
Well,
as in decapitation?
No, we'll start just with capitation, where basically a hospital is given a certain amount of money to treat a population of people, and so there is no more money when you run out. And so there's no impetus for racing around and doing a lot of extra work.
So it's a cap.
That's right.
Like a salary cap in sports.
That's exactly where it comes from. And so there are changes on the horizon that are going to impact the cost of Medicare. The other significant things are the Obama administration has said we're just going to cut the money to Medicare. Doctors are going to receive less money. Physicians are going to receive less money. And that's one of the issues even at Monroe right now, is we're anticipating, based on what Obama has said, that a loss of $70 million in revenues to Monroe over the next 10 years. And that's one of the things that's driving our need to do something right now, because we're not losing money every year, but down the line, things like this are so overwhelmingly obvious and likely that we've got to do something while we're still fiscally strong.
Are we going to lose doctors too?
Well, I think there in several ways. First of all, we struggle to have enough doctors. The statistics show that Monroe and Marion County is grossly understaffed by physicians. As we get older people, the baby boomers are getting of that age, they need physicians, yes. And then third of all, what was the other thing? It was I've sort of lost my train of thought. The fact that we don't have a lot of residencies in Florida. Statistics show that doctors stay where they do their residency. Since we don't have enough residency slots in postgraduate training, that we're losing physicians that way. And so I know the other thing I want to say is doctors can refuse to see Medicare patients.
That's true.
They refuse to see an inordinate number of Medicaid patients. Now they can, and there's concern, they will refuse to see any more Medicare patients.
And also hospitals can refuse to have pregnant women come in and have OB.
Well, that's right. You close the doors to OB.
And that's what's happened to a lot of hospitals, especially in South Florida. They just don't have OB anymore, and any of that indigent care, which is where a lot of that comes from, is off the books.
Well, and that's been a threat in this community. Yeah. OB loses money.
Right.
The closest, it's not like we got a hospital around the corner that'll do OB. You will be in Gainesville.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Jordan, any final thoughts about this, where this is going to go? We'll be watching with the interest to see what happens. There is, I guess, the Justice Department is investigating the HMA thing. As you point out, it's not peculiar to just HMA. There are other companies who have similar issues. It's a whole education. It's so much. My head's about to explode.
I don't want that to happen, because
right now
take care of you.
Right now it's a community hospital. He'll be good.
Yeah, I'll be okay.
Right,
yeah,
yes.
Exactly. So thanks so much, Mike, for coming in and sharing some thoughts. And thanks for what you do in the community. And keep fighting, will you?
I will, and thank you for the opportunity to be with you.
All right, Dr. Michael Jordan. Take a break, come back. We've got tweets and quotes. We got weird news. We got all kind of stuff coming your way right here on the Voice of Ocala. Stay tuned to the station that will soon become 96.3, and now is known as
1370 AM, 96.7 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com.
Thank you.
The Source.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And State Farm agent Angie Lewis is always there, too, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. At the Angie Lewis State Farm Agency, they go far beyond any slogan. Angie wants to help you adjust your insurance needs as your life evolves, from everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. They want to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. Each week on The Voice of Ocala, they feature a Good Neighbor of the Week, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. They're also big sports fans and sponsor our weekly State Farm State of the State report, which highlights a different college sports program each week. The Angie Lewis Agency of Ocala is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and the coffee pot is always on. Call your Good Neighbor State Farm agent today, Angie Lewis, at 291-2444.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Compton, inviting you to join us on The Voice of Ocala to discuss a painful subject, pain, not a one-size-fits-all pain, because pain is very personal and comes in all forms. That's why we need to talk about where you're hurting, and we can find out why. Then I can recommend ways to help deal with it, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, the psychological pain of loss, or the pain of physical injury. And when we define your pain, we can begin looking for ways to treat it. Did you know that a lack of vitamin C can cause severely excruciating pain? So listen to my new show, Dr. Terry, on the first Friday of each month, live from Gateway Bank at 3:30. We're all in this together. There's a better way of living. Let me help you find it on the Dr. Terry Show.
Tune in and join Dr. Terry the first Friday of each month right here on The Source.
On the next AM Ocala Live, Robin and I will be speaking to Rebecca Viges, coming out to speak about the book Cold Case, Sleeping Dogs Lie, the second book in the Mary McVannell series.
Richard Paul Evans, the king of Christmas fiction, will be on the air with his new book, A Winter Dream.
And then Open for Debate, where we get to debate something that is in the news.
David Ortman and Richard Sprott will be on the air speaking about their new book, Sexual Outsiders.
And then Rabbi Yossi Hecht will be on. He's the rabbi of Chabad Lubavitch Jewish Center of Marion County, coming out to speak to us about Hanukkah.
Dr. Donna Kamor is a contributor to The View. She'll be speaking about the new national campaign for restless leg syndrome called Choose Your Move.
And then Troy Duell will be with us. He's a researcher and a developer of effective natural protocols for prostate health.
Have all of your legal questions answered by attorney John Fuller on Legally Yours.
From the top of your head to the tip of your toe, it's the Head to Toe Care Show with your host, Dr. Riyad Fakori. All of that plus Fun with Joe right here on The Source, WOCA 96.7 FM.
1370 AM.
Robin, we need a trophy for the winner of the best rock band.
Oh, who won?
Stone Quarry.
Ooh, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Maybe. I'm thinking we should call BJ Trophies.
Wait, let's get Dan to make a trophy.
But...
Oh, Dan.
Robin, didn't we go through this already?
Yes, Robin.
Dan, we need you to chisel a rock.
Is this for another trophy?
Yes, it is.
Remember, I'm not so good at chiseling trophies. Why don't you call BJ Trophies?
That's what I tried to say.
But you'd be perfect.
Why? I thought we already decided the best trophies are from BJ Trophies.
Because you're good at rocks.
Yes, Dan, because you're good at rocks.
But you want a trophy, not a rock.
It's for a rock band.
Oh, jeez.
Isn't that a clever idea?
Clever, yes. Classy, no. I think you'd better stick to BJ Trophies for your rock band trophy.
But you're so good at rocks.
For the classiest trophies anywhere, call BJ Trophies, 732-2249, or go to bjtrophy.com.
Unless you want a rock.
Yeah, then call Dan.
Unless you need a classy rock. Then stick with BJ Trophies.
I'm attorney Bill Gallione. If you've been injured and need medical care, where do you go? Who pays the bill? Are you entitled to your lost wages? Call Bogan, Munz & Munz. I'm happy to personally meet with you. Bogan, Munz & Munz, Gainesville and Ocala. If you've been injured, what is your insurance company supposed to do for you? What benefits are you rightfully entitled to receive? You want some answers? Call me, Bogan, Munz & Munz, Gainesville and Ocala.
You know, some of these stories today, there's so much shopping going on in the thrift stores, and they have all these TV shows about storage lockers and stuff. And I'd like to know some of the bizarre things that they find that you never hear about on the shows. There's some strange things. And in the Weird News department today, there was some blown glass bought out in Utah, apparently. and in a thrift store, and the customer came in and paid $3 for it, and found out later. Guess what it was made from? Cremated human remains.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I'd like to know that before I bought that and put it in my house. I don't believe I'd want to be buying any of that stuff. A little bit of good news today.
That's not the sand I'd want my glass made of.
No. Come over to my house and have a drink. I'll fix it to you in my glass-blown human remains cup.
Human remains cup.
A little bit of good news. Home prices rose 6.3% in October, according to the market announcement today. An ad sign to come back that the housing market is making. We'll see if that continues to go around here, and a little bit here, a little bit there. That's always good to know, see things tick up that matter and things that need to go down. I really enjoyed having Mike Jordan here because he's a very intelligent man. He loves his community. He didn't have any kind of agenda for himself. He wants the best for all concerned. He's obviously very passionate about Monroe, but as he said, that ship has sailed now. It's time to do something else. And so even though many of us don't want to let go, the fact is that it's a new day. What do you say about Lyndon Johnson whenever he passed Medicare and what it was back then? They were like,
he said there was no for-profit. It was just community or charity hospitals.
Well, he said also there was, he also said that when he started into business as a radiologist, there were 3 of them here.
Right. Yeah. Well, now there's 17.
Yeah, so that's changed. And I'm surprised at him to say that there's a shortage of doctors. I thought we were pretty good on doctors. Apparently not. So what I'm finding out is I don't know anything. The more I learn about this, the more I realize I don't know what's going on. So, Hunter, what did you take away from that?
Well, buddy, I enjoyed listening to Dr. Jordan talk as you did. But what I wanted to say was when I watched this special the other night, I was talking to my dad, and I go, Dad, I wonder how many tests they've ordered for me that I haven't really needed over the past 15 years. And he probably said somewhere along the lines of probably 80 or 90, because I've had so many tests done. Thinking back to that computer program software we were talking about during the break, I hope that Shannon does it the right way, but you never know. I've been to so many different hospitals. I could have easily had tests. I've literally had hundreds of tests ordered, so it could be a lot of tests that I've had ordered that I didn't necessarily need to have done. And I can see that because I am a Medicaid patient right now as well. So I know, where the funds, when they start to dry up and run out. But
hit the donut hole and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. So they do like to, and they'll order 2 or 3 tests for me to come when I go visit my doctors and things like that. They order 2 or 3, and I'll have to ask them each time, what is this for?
Yeah.
Because I don't want all that radiation in me. CAT scans and stuff, you do enough of that. That'll mess you up. But I've already had cancer. I don't want it again.
Glow in the dark, man.
Absolutely. Like a Christmas tree, buddy. I glow.
Yeah. Well, you're right. It does seem like there's, as he said, it seems like there's an awful lot of tests going on out there right now. And, on the other hand, you hate not to have the test if you think you need them, right?
Absolutely.
So you said you heard something good about this other company that may be bidding for Monroe. You want to talk about that?
The reason I asked Dr. Jordan about Duke Life Point is because I'd heard through some sources that they did a really good presentation when they came here.
Duke Life Point, right?
Duke Life Point, correct. And I want to learn more about them. I don't know much about them as we speak, but I'm gonna research and learn more about them because from what I've heard, they're really good, they're solid, and they have a solid plan for the future. So I'm going to look into that, buddy, for you guys.
Well, I hope you have the same passion and zeal as our crack investigative team did when they went out to do the big expose on the disappearing chairs along Silver Springs Boulevard for the Christmas parade.
I'll jump right on.
Did you get inspired by that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Little Tom did a great job.
Yeah, I think he's resting on his laurels now. I think he's figured done that, and he's through for the day. So.
I thought I did pretty good, thank you.
Yeah, well, that was what else you got for us this hour? That was last hour.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. All right, little tweets and quotes music, JJ. We'll fire it up, see if we can get a little bit of a different take on a few things here today as we survey the cyber world for quotes. You guys don't know, I look for this stuff. I research this stuff. Some days are better than others, but, it is what it is. So here's a couple. I know Tom will like one of them for sure because it's one of my favorite guys. Somebody named James R. Cook said, "Do just once what others say you can't do, and you will never pay attention to their limitations again." I'll read that one more time. Do just once what others say you can't do, and you will never pay attention to their limitations again. James R. Cook.
That's a good point.
Number 2, you know you've reached middle age when you're cautioned to slow down by your doctor instead of by the police. Joan Rivers. And finally, Rodney Dangerfield. His are still good today. My wife made me join a bridge club. Bridge club. I'll jump off next Tuesday. Little Rodney there. You know what was good about his stuff? Is he wrote them all out. You've just begun a little bit of a career as a writer, Tom, trying to, you know what pain it is to sit there and agonize over words. To have humor and comedy like that, I'm sure a lot of brain power went into that. That little, probably a couple of lines may have taken him hours to do.
Oh, yeah.
Because it requires a lot of thought to.
I literally would, when I was doing stand-up, I literally would write. You come up with a little piece of something you think might be funny, and you jot it down on a piece of paper, and then when you go to sit down to write jokes, you will literally sit and write for an hour and a half to come up with a 30-second bit. And then you go out into an audience and you try that 30-second bit and it bombs, and you're like, that's an hour and a half I'm never getting back.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've heard, and that same thing with writing music and stuff. I've heard so many stories. I heard Larry Gatlin talk about the number of songs he's written on the back of napkins, and sometimes the words just flow out. Other times you sit there and sweat. I've been writing. My wife knows the sign when I'm writing a book. I'll sit there and struggle over one chapter for days at a time. And then sometimes I'll get up and all of a sudden the words just flow. And I can't stop, and I'll say, no dinner, the words are coming. And, I'll knock out 2,000-3,000 words without stopping. So you never know when they're going to come and where they're going to come from or what your inspiration will be. I've always loved this quote from Red Smith, the famous sports writer, when someone asked him, how long does it take you to write a column? He said 45 years. He said 45 years? Yeah, and 30 minutes to type it.
Exactly.
So it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
You gave me this Mr. Golf column.
Yes.
It's all right.
JJ, what do you see this, JJ? Tom's turning writer.
I know. I've been listening to y'all from afar, and I'm keeping my comments to the side for now. I need to read it.
I work a good 8 days on that to take up 370 words. And then when I sent it to Buddy, this is the message I get back, fellas. I can work with this. I'll have to edit it. Don't take it personal. Everybody gets edited. That's what I got. I can work with this. I thought,
it's better than it sucks.
I thought.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought to myself, oh no, it's my 11th grade English teacher with the red pen.
Yeah, my wife did that to one of her love letters one time. I don't remember that, but she says I did.
You critiqued one of her love letters.
She said that. I think it's legend is not true. But here's the good news for you. You said to me, I've put so much time. I've rewritten this 5 times. I almost wrote back 5. Why didn't you do it 10?
Yeah, 5 was the most I had.
Yeah, because it
but
takes.
After looking at the edit that you did to it, I was pleasantly surprised that you made it sound better without changing the crux of what I was trying to say.
Yeah, well, it's not finally done yet. It's just the first edit. We'll see what happens
I understand.
next. It'll be coming out in the publication. It's actually called Best Version Media. It's in Neighborhood Communication magazines, which many of you get in your neighborhood in your box. In January, should be one of those out, not this one with Mr. Golf, but coming out here this week. One issue's got Bill Davis on the cover. One's got Angie Lewis and Clint on the cover. And the other issue has got Frank DeLuca on the cover. 3 of the magazines that we work with. So watch for those in your mailbox. We'll take a break. We'll come back, wrap up this hour, get ready for a big sports hour. We're going to defend the Irish just a little bit here coming up in this hour, and all with John Finneran, a Golden Domer. Also, hopefully the great Pinksters around will cook up with him. And Fans Beer was under the weather yesterday and passed out on meds, he said. He'll be joining us today to catch up on the that's what he said. We'll get his take on the Gators and where they play in the bowl game against Charlie Strong's Louisville team. All that coming up on Buddy Sports page next.
on 1370 AM, 96.7 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. Hey, remember, starting Sunday, 96.3 is where you'll find us on the radio dial. You'll find us, The Source.
Hello, I'm Dawn Lovell, lead event designer and owner at Party Time Rentals. Have you ever wondered what it takes to make an event spectacular? Well, look no further. It's what we do every day. Whether you're hosting an intimate dinner for 10 or a gala for thousands, at Party Time Rentals, we find just the right style and elegance to make your event a success. Our extensive inventory of the finest in chandeliers, tents, crystal, china, and specialty items is featured in our fabulous showroom. Stop by and say hello. It's a great way to get ideas for an event and experience for yourself how you can make your party time special.
Party Time Rentals, located on Southwest 10th Street, just off Route 200 in Ocala, and off Southwest 34th Street in Gainesville. For more information, call 352-629-8858. That's 352-629-8858. The party begins at Party Time.
Are you happy with how much you're spending on car insurance? Or would you like to pay less? Allstate asked people on the street. Here's what they said.
Would I rather pay less? Yes.
I'm going to go with less.
Is this a trick question?
Turns out, people would rather pay less. Good thing, because drivers who switched to Allstate saved an average of $348 a year.
$348? Oh, not bad at all.
And with Allstate, you don't have to cut coverage to get the price down. A local agent will help you get the protection you need and the discounts you deserve.
Who wouldn't want to pay less?
Dollar for dollar. Nobody protects you like Allstate.
Hi, this is Kevin McDonald. Don't wait. Get a quote today. Call me at 622-2333. Drivers who switch saved an average of $348 a year. Savings based on National Consumer Reported data for new policies in 2009. Actual savings vary. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company, Northbrook, Illinois.
Yes, George.
I can't get the car started, and I need to get to Devon Self-Storage in Ocala to unclutter the garage.
Oh, George, don't worry. Devon Self-Storage in Ocala has a free move-in truck now. Just ask for John or Michael. They will gladly help you. George, you better call 352-873-0777.
Oh, thank you, Alice.
Say hi to Gordy for me.
Yes, I will, Alice.
George, with Devon Self-Storage in Ocala, your life just got easier.
Yes, Alice, yes.
Hi, this is Alan Taylor. Do you want to know what flowers to get your wife on your anniversary? Or which feminine product might be the next big thing? Then don't listen to my show, for God's sake. But if you're interested in the latest and greatest in the automotive world, then tune in every Saturday morning for Motor Trend Radio, right here on WOCA 1370 AM and 96.7 FM, The Source.
Looking for a primary care provider? Look no further, because Family Care Specialists of Bellevue is your answer. From immunizations to routine checkups for every member of the family, lab, x-ray, and diagnostic testing for heart disease are on site. Cassandra Ricci, ARNP, is accepting new patients with same or next day appointments available. Give the office a call at 245-1111. That's 245-1111. Ocala Health's Family Care Specialists of Bellevue. We care for you for life, from childhood through adulthood.
You've got a garden, and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source, 1370 a.m. and the new 96.7 FM.
Relief is just an email away. It's WOCA at WOCA.com.
We said we'd get back to this story about the homeless, shoeless man. Jeffrey Hillman, that touched everybody's hearts by the Good Samaritan New York City police officer, and the fact that disappointing to find out that he actually has a home, an apartment in the Bronx, and he's 54 years old. He's a veteran, and he lives in a place called Safe Havens, where he's been there for 2009. The Department of Veteran Affairs pays for part of that. Larry DePrimo, whose name now will be remembered for some time, was the one who bought the boots and put them on him. Unfortunately, when the New York Times reporter caught up with him Sunday night, he was barefoot again. And Hillman said they're worth a lot of money. And then the most disturbing part was he said he appreciated the handout, but he wants, quote, a piece of the pie from the viral photo of the Primo's good deed. So he was told by Muzzy Rosenblatt, I love that name, from the Bowery residence, he says, shelter and a pair of shoes are a start. That piece of pie. So anyway, it was a shocking revelation. And, of course, the other thing about this is you don't know that so many people who are out there, even though they're not homeless, they're vagrants, and some of them are not mentally capable of coping with some of the stuff. And that's the part that's really sad. We had a little discussion about that earlier in the program. Does it diminish the act of the police officer? Was he taken for a fool? Would it make you stop and think about it if you saw someone like that again? And the answer to that was, we all said, it does not diminish the act of kindness by the police officer. That it's unfortunate what happened after he gave the man the boots, but if there's a reward in heaven for doing the right thing, Officer DePrimo gets that reward. What happened to the boots after that? Well, that's another story. So again, it was a heartwarming story, one that touched a lot of people, and one you want to believe in. You want to be in the faith of good faith of people, but this didn't have a happy ending. Hunter, you got some new news on some more revelation or some more information on the deal that HMA is one of the companies bidding to operate Monroe, and you said they have another partner. Is that right?
And their partner is Shands Healthcare, buddy.
I wonder how Shands feels about the story that broke on 60 Minutes, because it was pretty ugly. You can sugarcoat it all you want to, and I'm not saying, again, that we have all the facts here, as Dr. Jordan said. We don't. But what we do know is 100 people, basically, had the same story. And the essence of the story is they were pressured to getting people in hospital beds by administrators, not because of medicine, because a so-called quota that was asked to be met. And and by the way, the stock for the company dropped some on Friday after anticipating the story is going to happen. So we'll follow that story. And Hunter, that's interesting. Shands, huh?
Yes, sir.
How about that? All right. Coming up in the Sports Hour, buddy, Sports Page next. We're waiting around. We'll see if we can catch up with Dave Pingalore from Local 6. We're trying to run him down. We'll get a view of the Irish today from Golden Domer himself. We'll talk with John Finneran, and Franz Beard checks in on the Gator Report, which was supposed to be yesterday, but will be today because he couldn't make it yesterday, under the weather. And what's the latest news, Tom, on the coaching situation? Does Arkansas have somebody?
Yeah, Brett Bielema from the University of Wisconsin. And they've also announced an Auburn head coach. We'll tell you that in the Sports Hour, too.
Coming up next, right here on
1370 AM, 96.7 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Never was around, but she grew up tall and she grew up right with them Indiana boys on an Indiana night.
It's Saturday morning football season. Time to kick it off with some great food and one of your favorite beverages. But where to go? Well, try Brunch on Broadway. Check out Football Saturdays at Pie on Broadway every week at 10 a.m. for the perfect blend of football, food, and fun. At Pie on Broadway in downtown Ocala, we'll get you ready for all the big games with the live broadcast of Buddy Martin's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA AM and FM. Saturdays are also good days to stroll around beautiful downtown Ocala. Head to the farm market on the square and then enjoy Brunch on Broadway just in time to watch ESPN's Game Day on one of our TVs. Of course, Pie is also a great place to dine for lunch and dinner the rest of the week, too. But Football Saturday at Pie on Broadway is special. Pie on Broadway, where you get to the college spirit with Brunch on Broadway as your pre-kickoff menu. Hi, this is Buddy Martin. If you have an award or a trophy in your house, there's more than a good chance it came from BJ Trophies Gifts and Awards. At BJ Trophies, Floyd Hirschberger and his staff have a lot more than just trophies. Among the items they specialize in are donor recognition walls and trees, personalized or engraved gifts, cast bronze dedication plaques, wide format digital printing with posters, banners, and signs, and promotional products. Floyd is the official trophy and awards maker for the Voice of Ocala radio show and is North Central Florida's leader in custom recognition programs, corporate awards, industrial engraving, unique gifts, and advertising specialties. When Angie Lewis went shopping for something to award to the winners of her State Farm Good Neighbor Award, she shopped first at BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Check them out at 1735 Northeast Jacksonville Road on North Magnolia's Miracle Mile, or call them today at 352-732-2249. BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Trophies is just our middle name. If you need a sign or a banner for your yard or your business or your campaign, I'd recommend you go to Signs Unlimited at 318 South Magnolia in Ocala. Screen printing, embroidery, digital graphics. Do what I did when we needed signs for the Save the Marion Theater Group. Go see Vic Buttermore at Signs Unlimited if you want quality work with a fast turnaround from somebody who is deeply committed to his community and always ready to assist you. There's a reason Vic's slogan is, "It's our business to make your business better." Sign up for Signs Unlimited. Call 732-7341 today.
Digital Graphics Reborn. Phoenix Graphics. When you need vehicle graphics, banners, t-shirts, window graphics, you need to call Phoenix Graphics at 368-2404. When you need building signs, vehicle wraps, yard signs, realty signs, business cards, you need to call 368-2404. Phoenix Graphics. Digital Graphics Reborn.
Hi, this is Carl, KC5CMX from the Silver Springs Radio Club in Ocala. We're having our annual Amateur Radio Hamfest Saturday, December 8th at Green Clover Hall, 319 Southeast 26th Terrace, starting at 7:30 in the morning. Tower Electronics will be there, and so will the tailgaters. Admission is $5 and the public is welcome. For a map or more information, please check us out at the K4GSO.us website. Again, that's www.K4GSO.us. Hope to see you there.
It's Saturday morning football season. Time to kick it off with some great food and one of your favorite beverages. But where to go? Well, try Brunch on Broadway. Check out Football Saturdays at Pie on Broadway every week at 10 a.m. for the perfect blend of football, food, and fun. At Pie on Broadway in downtown Ocala, we'll get you ready for all the big games with the live broadcast of Buddy Martin's Saturday Sports page on WOCA AM and FM. Saturdays are also good days to stroll around beautiful downtown Ocala. Head to the farm market on the square and then enjoy Brunch on Broadway just in time to watch ESPN's Game Day on one of our TVs. Of course, Pie is also a great place to dine for lunch and dinner the rest of the week, too. But Football Saturday at Pie on Broadway is special. Pie on Broadway, where you get to the college spirit with Brunch on Broadway as your pre-kickoff menu.
How good does it get?
Golf has long been considered to be sport's most prestigious game, and WOCA has your connection to everything in the golf world. Every first and third Thursday at 10 a.m., tune in for Let's Talk Golf with your host, PGA professional and teacher to the stars, Jim Beckett, and operations manager for the Links of Spruce Creek South, Darren Irwin, right here on The Source.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
Officials in Atlanta are discussing whether it's time to install carbon monoxide alarms after a leak yesterday sent 42 students and 5 adults to the hospital. The gas was found at potentially lethal levels near a school furnace. The alarms are not legally required in Georgia. A company that wants to sell genetically modified salmon says it's running out of money as it waits for government approval. 2 years ago, the FDA ruled that the fish, which grows twice as fast as normal, is safe to eat, but it hasn't made a decision yet on the potential potential environmental impact. The star of the former TV show Malcolm in the Middle has apparently suffered a mini-stroke. The actor-turned-musician Frankie Muniz was taken to a hospital in Arizona on Friday. Muniz tweeted that he now has to take better care of himself. Men and women still say "we do" to tradition when it comes to marriage. A student survey at the University of California finds men are still expected to do the proposing. Most women will change their names for their husbands, but not vice versa. ABC News.
With an industry-leading distribution network, Grainger can save you tons of downtime by offering over 900,000 products, many ready to ship right when you need them. In fact, 99% of items ordered ship same day. So fast, the International Acronym Committee is considering changing ASAP to ASAG for as soon as Grainger. At least they would be considering it if there were such a committee. To help keep your business running efficiently, call clickgrainger.com or stop by a branch today. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. With one phone call, you'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information. It's a free service, so call now.
800-378-2281. 800-378-2281.
How much time? 30 seconds. I'm on right now. I don't believe you.
Okay. Enough kidding around.
Ho, 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 ho.
And now it's time for the Buddy Martin Sports Page.
He actually had me stay here last night in his gym.
It's like I don't fit in. It's like I don't belong here.
Let's go talk to a couple of guys that never gamble.
Oh, see, I made Lewis a bet here. See, Lewis bet me that we couldn't both get rich and put you on the phone house at the same time. He didn't think we could do it.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
And now, here's Buddy.
All right, time for the sports page coming up your way right here on the soon-to-be 96.3 now. 1370, 96.7, WOCA, the source. A lot of news going on, popping all of a sudden. The coaching carousel is rolling. Changes, and a lot going on there, which we'll catch up on in just a moment. Development in the Belcher case, the Kansas City Chief player who shot his girlfriend and his was his wife or his girlfriend? I think it was his girlfriend.
Pregnant girlfriend.
Yeah.
No,
she had a baby. She had three.
Yeah, they had a
3-month-old
together.
Yeah, and then apparently there's more details to that, which we'll talk about. Not a very pretty. I heard a lot of people talking about this, and players dying and playing games is nothing new. It's happened many years. We've had players die, and every time the teams play, and they always say this is how so and so would want it, but nobody remembers anything happening this close. 24 hours before or whatever they played, and that was the unusual part about that. And the Chiefs, of course, wound up playing an inspired game, which it doesn't vindicate what happened, but the other part of that is that some of the players were questioning, how much do you honor a guy who shot and killed somebody, murdered him?
Right, that's what. Right when it happened, we were sitting at Pie, and Saturday morning, and I was thinking, they can't wear his number.
No.
Considering he just killed somebody right before he did that. And I know there's going to be players that are going to want to do that. Because, that's their boy.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's really...
So, the president, apparently, of the Chiefs told some players who confronted him about it that, no, there's no way we're going to let you wear the number.
It was a murder-suicide, and it seems like it gets uglier and uglier according to Sports Illustrated. JJ, you pointed this out to me. He was out partying the night before. He shot Cassandra Perkins, and there were some details that were disturbing in that.
He was drinking, I guess, the Power and Light District, the area of bars in downtown Kansas City, with a different female, not the one he killed, until about 6:30 or 7 in the morning. So the murder happened probably, hour, 2 hours after that. So he was obviously drinking and partying, it says.
Like Buddy says, nothing good ever happens.
Especially when it involves alcohol and other things. All right, other news, the coaching situation, stuff popping, Tom. We had a bulletin or two. They happen here, and as we speak, yet another coach hired. My old buddy, the guy who was just absolutely annihilated when he coached the offense. Steve Adazio was abused by fans for his offense, but he lands on his feet today. He goes to a new job, a bigger job, big arena, Boston College. Steve Adazio, congratulations.
Leaving Temple to go to BC.
Yeah, well, it's,
that's pretty good.
A little closer to his home. He's from the Connecticut area, so congratulations.
A lot of people. Gus Malzahn lands at Auburn.
That makes a lot of sense.
A lot of people said he should have been there before Gene Chizik.
Which makes it interesting, yes. It makes it interesting. Well, Chizik brought him here.
Right.
Brought him there. He's the guy who really invented the Cam Newton offense.
Right.
That was his offense.
Right.
So, I mean, it makes sense now. Where's Petrino in all this now? If these doors are closing, Tennessee still has the opportunity if they decide to hire him.
You know what's going to happen here?
No, I don't.
I'm going to have to eat crow. JJ's going to have to eat crow, and a lot of other people are going to have to eat crow because it's looking more and more like Bobby Petrino's past is still too much in the present. And Buddy Martin, who said chances are he's not going to get hired this year, he needs to wait another year, is probably going to prove it's almost like you've done this before.
It's possible, but on the other hand, there's that will to win, and a lot of coaches, the bottom line in this cash game. I was having I had a frightening thought today, guys. We talked about how the merger of all the conferences is going to take place. We talked about it for years now, what's going to happen here. And how now, see, today there's more news about other teams moving. I heard somebody else say today there's 2 teams moving to the Conference USA from someplace else. I even forgot where it was. JJ, you probably got it over there someplace. But there's another move taking place. Who's going to be the last guy out? It's like a chain letter. Who's the last guy holding the bag? When there's some school, let's make up someplace, a school that's plays pretty good football, but not quite good enough, and they say, well, we only take 76 teams. Sorry, Toledo.
Exactly.
You didn't make it in.
Exactly who I was thinking of. No. Sorry, Toledo. You beating the spread every week and winning 8 games a year, you're not good enough.
You're good, but you're just not good enough to play in this league. And so next thing you know, Toledo's playing with walk-ons or whatever. I mean, that's the fright. It's like one of those sci-fi movies. I could see the opening scene of the coach and the AD at an empty stadium saying, where did we go wrong? Because you know what's happened here? This is a money grab. Since this thing started, and I'm not knocking the ADs because they know where the cash is, and certainly it's in the playoff. It's on television. But this is a money grab that started, when? When the Pac-10 began to be the Pac-12 and the Southwest Conference, the people in the Big 12, at one point Kansas was out. Storied basketball program would have no place to play. And the next thing scrambled and all the things happened to the Big 12. And then the Big 10, of course. I mean, the SEC began way before that when they took in their 2 teams. South Carolina and Arkansas, was that 15 years ago or more? And then the Big 10 added Penn State and so on. Here and there. Now it's become like a land grab. And I wonder where it's going to lead to. At some point, someone's going to say, sorry, door closed, you're out, you can't make it. We're just playing with these. And there will be a larger division between the haves and the have-nots.
And that needs to happen to Notre Dame. They need to be slammed the door shut and not allowed into a conference.
You're one of those Notre Dame haters I'm going to talk to about today.
I am. I make no bones about it.
Why would you just want to openly hate somebody because of whatever your own prejudices are when they have walked the walk? They've done everything this year they're supposed to do.
You're entirely correct.
I want you to look at the schedule for Notre Dame right now.
No, I know.
I want you to look at who they've beaten every time.
They've done everything they're supposed to do this year. The only problem is I've had to hear that they were going to do it every year for the last 20, and it didn't happen. And so now that it happened, they said, see, we told you we were great. No, you weren't great. You're good this year. You haven't been great for 20 years.
Say that.
Notre Dame fans.
Have you, JJ, heard anybody say that?
Notre Dame fans talk about how great they are every year.
Have you heard anybody say that, JJ?
Not recently.
Turn your mic on.
Turn your mic on, dude. Be better to hear you.
I don't know any Notre Dame fans, but not recently. What have they had to talk about? They went undefeated. I mean,
yeah, but they always say that it's going to be, this is the year. They tell you how great Notre Dame is, and we got NBC and all this. And then they go 7-5 and say that somehow that's not their fault. So then they finally go undefeated, and now they're like, see, we told you. Yeah, you've been telling us 20 years, so you got it right finally
now
once.
I'll call you on the carpet. You're a guy that's, you're in your near future, you're going to be a writer, correct?
Right.
And, you know, when you're a writer, you're only as good as your sources, you know?
Right.
And if you write something that says, they said this and they said
you
that.
Want me to tell you? I'll give you exactly somebody right now.
I do. You said they. You didn't say one person.
I can tell you 4 people right now that I know that I could get on the phone that are all Notre Dame fans that'll tell you how great they've been for 20 years.
Let's get them on the phone then.
We can do that. Call Jamie Morgan first, comic that I work with.
Yeah.
He's a huge Notre Dame fan that tells me every year. You can call Monty Rowe. He's another guy from Georgia that's a huge fan. You can call Steve Rossi, who's a great Notre Dame fan, very good friend of mine, always tells me how great they are. And Donnie Gunner, a kid I grew up with in Jacksonville, that always reminds me every time I go back to Jacksonville how great Notre Dame is, and they're just this close. It's the way the scheduling is and everything that's keeping them down.
You know what your problem is? What? You're hanging out with too many Notre Dame fans.
That is the problem.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. Coming up, we'll have Notre Dame. Actually, he's a graduate. He's a fan. He covered him for years.
Well, he knows then.
John Fennerin, who's, you know, a Golden Domer. And we're efforting to get a hold of our buddy, the great Pinkster. And we'll hear from Fran Spear later on today, talking about little Gator basketball and this competition in the Sugar Bowl. I mean, Charlie Strong's team coming in there riding high. Will they make a game out of it? They're underdogs, obviously. And what about poor Georgia? Bulldogs got left at the gate, man. After all, they just lost barely to the team that's going to play and probably win the national championship. They don't get to dance at all, man. What about the Georgia folks? We'll take a break, come back, and talk about that right here on Buddy Sports Page.
1370 AM, 96.7 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram, CEO of Gateway Bank, inviting you to drop by our main office on Silver Springs Boulevard every Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. for the Community Gazette, a 3-hour show focusing on our favorite community to live and work, Ocala, Marion County. Come join us with the voice of Ocala, Buddy Martin, in the new old-fashioned bank radio studio as we discuss a variety of interesting topics on the Community Gazette on WOCA, The Source.
Hi, Buddy Martin along with Tom Spitz from the Voice of Ocala. I was thinking the other day, Tom, how fortunate we are to be able to be in this community and be able to have a program every day from 3 to 6. It takes a lot to put on a show every day.
It's a lot of effort. You got to do a lot of productions. You got to put a lot of show prep together. But not only that, you got to have sponsors to put a show like this on.
Well, it's a number of things it takes. Of course, it takes listeners. Also, it takes a great management team at the station. And as you say, we can't thank our sponsors enough. They make it possible for the Voice of Ocala to be heard. And I think about our original sponsors we've had on this program: Country Club of Ocala, Prestige Auto Sales, Angie Lewis State Farm.
You can't forget the ones we've added, though, buddy. Gateway Bank, Pie on Broadway, BJ Trophy and Awards.
Yeah, of course, and then there's KMS Fitness, Dr. Terry Compton. We could go on and on. We've been really blessed. The most important thing, we want you to have a very blessed holiday.
From myself, Buddy Martin, and the Voice of Ocala team, happy holidays.
Every day we hear another story about innovation or about cutting-edge technology taking place right here in Ocala. The power plant, IHMC, Ocala 489. Did you know that important medical research is also being conducted here that may impact hundreds of thousands of people in the country someday? Maybe you've heard the name Renstar, but like so many others, perhaps you didn't realize that Renstar Medical Research is one of the top facilities of its kind anywhere in the U.S. There are important research studies being conducted by a highly qualified team of medical experts at Renstar, impacting decisions of major pharmaceutical companies and bringing new drugs to market. And you can be a part of these studies, as so many local people have done and are currently doing. Renstar has conducted more than 500 studies since its inception and would like to extend the opportunity to you to be a part of these cutting-edge programs. Call 877-629-5800 or 352-629-5800 if you'd like to know more. Renstar Medical Research, locally owned and operated in beautiful downtown Ocala. Renstar, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
Hey, Larry, nice haircut.
Oh, thanks, Robin. Looks like you had something different done, too.
Yes, I did. Thanks for noticing. I went to Lupe at Merle Norman on the Boulevard for a fresh cut, some summer highlights, and a facial.
No kidding. That's who I go to. I didn't know she did all that.
She does coloring, waxing, styling, updos, microderms, and she does it all for prices that won't break the bank.
Sounds like you can take the whole family there.
As a matter of fact, I do.
Hi, this is Lupe. Let me be your personal stylist. To set up your appointment, call me today, 426-1229.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a toilet was flushing. The plumbing was out. The stockings were dirty, no water to clean. We were in a big mess with no washing machine. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of showers danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap, I searched for my tools to try and fix the mishap. When up in the attic there arose such a clatter. The pipes had burst. I see what's the matter. Away to the phone I flew like a flash to call Mike Scott Plumbing. They'll be here in a dash. He arrived in his van and got the job done, for he knew down the road he had more to come. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Because accidents don't work around your schedule, but we do, with no extra fees for nights, weekends, or holidays. From all of us at Mike Scott Plumbing, happy holidays.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my
too.
seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new truck.
Yep, we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Welcome back. I wonder if Tim Tebow's in quarterback purgatory. You know, now there's the word out that he may have to fight for the second position. You saw what his coach said, Rex Ryan, about how much what he thought of the quarterbacks. He has confidence in all three.
I got confidence in all three.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but not any of them to start.
I heard Peter King say today that on ESPN this morning with Colin Cowherd that actually he had said earlier this year that he would be surprised to see McElroy eventually be a strong candidate to start because he's the most accurate passer of the three.
Right.
Now, you know, and that, but then again, he backed off today by saying that I don't think it's going to happen soon. You know, the Tebow experiment, I don't even know where it is right now. I don't know what they're doing.
How's it still called an experiment?
Well, because he's not playing. They got him for a purpose. A putt protector, and they haven't played him except spot plays. He's been hurt. He's obviously not playing now. He's had bad ribs. He was on the one moment when he could have come in the game when Sanchez got so terrible they had to make a change.
He was hurt.
He was hurt. They're bringing McElroy. He throws a winning touchdown pass.
The question I have is, when are we going to stop calling it experiment and call it for what it is?
Failure.
No, it's not even a failure. It was a blatant move by Woody Johnson. Isn't that the guy's name? Isn't that the owner of the team?
Correct.
To bring in a revenue flow, i.e. selling jerseys and putting butts in the seat. There was never any intention of letting the guy have a chance to play quarterback.
I think it was an insurance policy. And I think there's some of that, too. I think also the fact that Woody Johnson loves the guy and has said that he's going to be there for 3 years. Tebow never has gotten a shot. Whether he deserves it or not, you can make that decision for yourself. But we'll never really know. Remember at Denver, when he had that little win streak going there, he was playing.
Right.
He got a chance to throw the ball once in a while. I mean, he can't be any worse than Sanchez, who's been horrible.
That team is awful.
They're just
I don't
awful.
Think who matters. It matters
but if you're going to let
have
somebody play, then, you know. Anyway, it's interesting that now they got a pickle. Who are they going to play? You know, if they get a chance to win, they're going to play the guy. They play their grandmother if they had to with a chance to win. Anyway, meanwhile, Tebow he's doing his thing. He's
whatever he does.
Yeah, he's doing whatever he does. Yeah, exactly, whatever he does. And I guess there's a story about him tweeting to an injured teenager who got hit by a car over the weekend. And they showed a picture, by the way, of him with a little girl who's obviously ill. and he has a Twitter campaign that's gone viral. Matt Hardy, a 17-year-old kid from high school, the name I can't pronounce, with the injury suffered from a two-car crash, and he tweeted something to him, and so Tebow will have a.
That is one thing he does.
Yes, he does. My wife said to me when he left Florida, his biggest role in life will not be to play football. He has bigger things in life, and he will have a profound impact on people, but not through playing football. She may end up being right, you know. Speaking of having a profound impact, I believe RG3 should run for president in Washington right now.
He would win in a landslide.
Gosh, there's some love going on there.
All the celebs there last night before the game, all the love RG3's getting from everybody. I just wanted to, there's a guy, Andrew Luck, whose team is in the playoffs right now.
Pretty good guy in Seattle, by the way, too, doing all right.
Well, here's what I want everybody to understand. Right now, that zone read is working for him. But as Buddy has said numerous times, there's pretty smart defensive coordinators in the NFL. They're going to figure out how to stop that. Last night, it didn't look like it was stoppable. He was doing what he wanted, and that zone read was causing huge problems. The linebackers were having to come up. They were leaving huge openings in between the safety and the linebacker for Pierre Garçon to look like that Peyton Manning was still throwing to him.
Well, he was awfully good now. He's a good player for Manning.
That's what I mean, when Manning was throwing to him. So, right now, defensive coordinators hadn't schemed to stop him. But trust me, it's coming. Every great player gets schemed and has to figure out how to beat that scheme.
That's true.
They're going to scheme against him, and it's not going to be as easy as it looks now.
I think the whole team's getting behind him, too. I mean, earlier in the season, the defense for the Redskins was one of the worst in the NFC, much less, all of the NFL. Now,
played well last night, though.
Yeah. They're giving up, 16 points to the Super Bowl champion Giants. They sort of had, the bend but don't break type defense last night. Now the Redskins are only one game out of the East.
That East, though,
stinks.
6-6.
Oh man,
but
6-6, Giants 7-5.
My question, buddy, is you're a writer of long standing. You've done a lot of sports writing and everything. How do you figure out who the rookie of the year is? And you mentioned the three people in the running. You got Seattle, Indianapolis, and Washington, all starting quarterbacks, all rookies.
Doug Martin. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Easily it's RG3. Won't be a question, even though there's other guys that play great. I mean,
you don't think Luck has a shot?
No.
Oh.
No, I think RG3 is unless they get a good seed in the playoffs and play well. Yeah.
Well, but they
got a better record.
Right,
I know.
They got a better record. But that kid from Wisconsin, his name's escaping me right now. In Seattle, the quarterback.
Oh, Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Yeah. He's third-round draft pick. Nobody saw this coming at all.
Yeah, I heard today he's been the most accurate passer in the NFL since November the 1st.
How about that?
They're also 7-5. Colts 8-4. I think it's going to come down to who goes to the playoffs.
And what you said is very valid, JJ. Martin is having a amazing year with Tampa Bay.
Monster.
Nobody's even talking about it.
Yeah, and it got a great last name. So I don't understand. But I mean, here's the thing about RG3. Luck made a nice play to win the game of the day, too. That little short pass he dished off the right time.
They scored twice in 3 minutes.
But RG3, two scores. He's a play-making son of a gun. I mean, he makes plays. I mean, I didn't realize how good he was last year, obviously, because I didn't see him play much. But he makes plays, and I give Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan. I can't believe Kyle's that old. I don't think he was 10. But, they got this pistol formation.
It's a good scheme.
And I heard it explained today. I hadn't thought about this. And why it's so good is in the National Football League, everything's predicated on the pass rush coming from where? On the edge, right?
Right.
The defensive ends are monsters. They're big, fast, strong, whatever. But when you leave them in doubt and you don't know if a guy's going to slice inside of you or do a zone read or a pitch or keep it, you can't commit. You can't come on full at a guy at a full bull rush. So I think that's ingenious now, like Tom says. There will be a scheme to try and stop that. And what you don't want to do is get RG3 hurt, which I still think is a possibility.
And because he gets blasted.
He got blasted last night after a 9-yard game. I mean, he just got blasted.
But speaking of the pistol, Kaepernick, another quarterback in the news right
Yeah.
now, came from Nevada, and, that's the offense they run. So,
yeah, that's true.
Them and RG3, this pistol thing is the new, wildcat of the NFL.
It is. You're right. It's a new thing, for sure. Well, all right, so here's the deal, guys. I'm going to say we should show Notre Dame a little respect until they prove otherwise.
They did prove otherwise. Let me tell you when.
We're going to, despite
Purdue,
Tom's
20-17.
We don't really care about Tom's personal opinions.
Pittsburgh, 29-26.
We will be talking
BYU,
about Notre Dame with our guest
17-14.
next right here on the show. Cut Tom's mic off for you. We'll be talking with John Finneran coming up here in just a minute, who is to give us an insight to this team. I've heard a lot of people talking about their defense being an SEC-style defense. We know about Teo. I've seen him play 2.5 games this year. I've been pretty impressed. And Golston, Golston has just played well. He didn't start every game, but when he's played, he's thrown the ball with accuracy. So let's just take it like this. Let's just say there's a possibility they could win the game. Am I picking him? No. I'm going to have an open mind, unlike others, about Notre Dame. So we come back, we'll talk to John Finneran, who is a Golden Domer himself. He lives in New Jersey now. We'll get him to get his take on the Fighting Irish. We'll wrap it up at the bottom of the top of the hour, right before the top of the hour, with Franz Beard and Gator Talk, the Gator Report, which was supposed to be Monday, but it'll be Tuesday now. Coming up next, right here
on 1370 AM, 96.7 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
It's Saturday morning football season. Time to kick it off with some great food and one of your favorite beverages. But where to go? Well, try Brunch on Broadway. Check out Football Saturdays at Pie on Broadway every week at 10 a.m. for the perfect blend of football, food, and fun. At Pie on Broadway in downtown Ocala, we'll get you ready for all the big games, the live broadcast, the Buddy Martin Saturday Sports page on WOCA AM and FM. Saturdays are also good days to stroll around beautiful downtown Ocala. Head to the farm market on the square and then enjoy Brunch on Broadway just in time to watch ESPN's Game Day on one of our TVs. Of course, Pie is also a great place to dine for lunch and dinner the rest of the week, too. But Football Saturday at Pie on Broadway is special. Pie on Broadway, where you get to the college spirit with Brunch on Broadway as your pre-kickoff menu.
If you're a high school graduate looking for something more, the U.S. Air Force wants to challenge you. We're looking for candidates for 2 intense career fields: parachute specialists, to rescue airmen in distress, and combat controllers. First there in Air Force operations to set up airfields and communications. To find out more, call Sergeant Gerald Strauss at 352-629-9112 or log on to www.airforce.com/special ops.
Hi, this is Tom Schmitz, the host of Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA. The Saturday Sports Page is your weekend destination for everything sports, from NASCAR to golf, baseball to boxing, and of course the best, most comprehensive football coverage on the radio. Also, you don't want to miss my weekly Are You Kidding Me rant? So join me and JJ LaSalva every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA, The Source.
I'm getting the Christmas spirit.
It's that time of year again. Ocala First Assembly of God presents The Gospel According to Scrooge, a must-see tradition throughout our community during the Christmas season, starting Sunday, December 9th, and running through Wednesday, December 12th, with shows starting at 7 p.m. nightly. Experience a full-scale Broadway-type production that is sure to dazzle and entertain both young and old alike. Doors open at 6. For more information, call the church office, 351-1827. The Gospel According to Scrooge, only at the First Assembly of God.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Men are now just as likely as women to be binge eaters. The biggest difference between binging men and binging women is that men are less likely to think they have a problem, so they're less likely to seek treatment. Most job candidates believe they have to oversell their qualifications, but that makes you look nervous and disorganized. To keep yourself healthy, do this every week. Express yourself. A constructive argument with your spouse, family, or boss can actually increase your immune system.
On the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a toilet was flushing. The plumbing was out. The stockings were dirty, no water to clean. We were in a big mess with no washing machine. The children were nestled all snug in their beds. while visions of showers danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap, I searched for my tools to try and fix the mishap. When up in the attic there arose such a clatter, the pipes had burst. I see what's the matter. Away to the phone I flew like a flash to call Mike Scott Plumbing. They'll be here in a dash. He arrived in his van and got the job done, for he knew down the road he had more to come. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Because accidents don't work around your schedule, but we do, with no extra fees for nights, weekends, or holidays. From all of us at Mike Scott Plumbing, happy holidays.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. Some fog for a while this morning, otherwise partly sunny today. There may be a shower along the coast, the high 75 to 79. Partly cloudy tonight, though 56 inland, 62 at the coast. But tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sunshine with a chance of a shower along the coast, the high 74 to 78. And on Thursday, partly sunny, high 74 to 78. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
WOCA, Ocala.
We're back on Buddy Sports Page. It's Tom Schmitz. Look, I give everybody grief about not knowing anything about trivia and everything. So I'm not going to bore you with asking you a trivia question that you obviously don't know the answer to. Instead, the first person that calls the Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622, I'm just giving 4 tickets to College of Central Florida versus, is it Miami-Dade, JJ? Is that who they're playing? Is that Miami-Dade they're playing?
Good game.
This Saturday, December 8th. All you got to do, I'm not even going to make you try to show me how smart you are, because I end up, destroying you when I do that. All you got to do is call in the Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622, and you just get 4 tickets to the basketball game.
Well, there you go. That's fair enough. All right, before I go to our guest from New Jersey, who's got a little bit of an affinity for a team called Notre Dame, I want to mention that things up in Knoxville are not good right now. They're struggling to find a coach, and I got a call from a friend last night who just had a little panic mode going on, saying, "I don't know what we're going to do. I don't think this is Tennessee, but I'm worried this program is going to be going down for a while now. And who in their right mind want to come here?" I said, "Dude, it's Tennessee. Come on, it's Peyton Manning School. It's He said, "Yeah, but I've looked at the schedule the next 3 years, and it's difficult, and it could be thing could be down for a while." And he asked me, he said, "Do you think Charlie Strong would be interested in coming here from Louisville?" And I said, "I would think so, yes." And he said, "Well, why would he leave Louisville and come here?" I said, "Well, because it's Tennessee." But right now, there's someone told me who knows the situation in Tennessee from the outside looking in, that the problem with Tennessee is they're not aligned with their school and athletic department, and everybody's not on the same page. In other words, it's your administration's got to back you, or you can't win. And I don't mean by that you have any special treatment for athletes or, not obviously doing illegal things, but simply, an understanding of what the role of the team is and supporting them. That's one of the things that for years may have hurt Notre Dame, and Notre Dame proudly would say, "Well, look, we're never going to give in to that." I think things are fairly well aligned there now. Not that they're doing that much differently, but certainly it looks like they're all on the same page, because Kelly's got them playing for a national championship. One very happy guy is John Finneran, formerly of the South Bend Tribune, who I know has enjoyed his season. Hi, John.
Buddy, how are you doing down there today?
Very good, sir. You got your tickets for the Miami game?
I wish I did, but no, I'm going to, that's a little steep for me, $1,500 or whatever they're going for.
Is that what they're going for? Wow.
Yeah, and I think they'll probably end up being even higher than that by the time the nuts with Bucks get finished sending the tickets through the roof. So,
well, we've had. Go ahead.
I'll just sit at home, watch the game with my 88-year-old father, and we'll see what happens.
Well, the Irish are 8.5-point underdogs. There are a lot of people who are Notre Dame haters. I'll tell you that, who are having to eat some crow this year. You and Mike Golick are having a field day this year. And, the Irish have been down for a while, about 20 years, and they're back up again. What's it like now? I don't want to call it the Irish nation. I hate that term. I saw one today that somebody called Louisiana Tech Nation. I just don't think of Louisiana Tech having a nation, but certainly if there is one, Notre Dame's got it, because with all the so-called Subway alumni. But what's it like out there? I'm sure you read the blogs and you read the South Bend Tribune page and you talk to Notre Dame fans. How much fun are Notre Dame fans having?
Oh, I'm sure the people, the diehards. I'm seeing a little bit more Notre Dame clothing than you usually do. Yeah. I think for a lot of years, they hid it as well as they could. I've run into a few people here in New Jersey wearing Notre Dame colors again and being happy. I ran into the former governor of New Jersey, Brendan Byrne, at the at a supermarket, and when he saw the jersey I was wearing with an ND on it, he goes, "Man, what a game that was the other night," meaning the Southern Cal game. So, the more people again are Notre Dame is relevant again in college football, and I know you and I have discussed this many times. Is when Notre Dame is relevant in football, college football is a lot of fun again. Mm-hmm. And college football needs Notre Dame being relevant because I think there's some things that we at Notre Dame stand for, I think it's good for all concerned.
Well, I think the brand is important too, and I think that America got the game it wanted. I think we'd like to see two SEC teams play down here again, naturally. And you understand that because you lived here and worked here for 8 or 9 years. But I think America wants Alabama and Notre Dame because of their brands. Those are two of the great football powers of all time, and it's good to see the Fighting Irish are back. And so it may not even be the best game, but I'm one who gives Notre Dame a fighting chance here. I don't think that I'm not going to pick them to beat Alabama, but I think you got a fighting chance based on what I've seen. I've seen them play 3 or 4 times. I've heard people talk about their defense. We know about Teo, but there's also some other good players on defense. It's kind of built like an SEC defense. They're pretty strong and physical, and they get a little, they get some good pass rush, and I think they like to run the football and have. The question is, can they stop Alabama's running game? That's going to be the tough test for them.
Yeah, and again, that's the when you look at Alabama, I think the strength of the Alabama team, as we all know, and as we've known for years, has been their offensive line. Nick Saban doesn't do anything different. Hasn't done anything different as a coach. He believes in getting he believes in defensively. You get a couple of cornerbacks, and you can do a lot of things defensively. And he's always been strong that. He's a defensive secondary coach anyway. And you get strong, stop the other team from running, be physical. And on the offense, be physical up front, run the football, which is what they did against Georgia, behind that offensive line that is headed by Barrett Jones. It's kind of scary watching those guys go to work. And, that's got to be Notre Dame's biggest concern is, if they can handle that offensive line of Alabama's, then Notre Dame does indeed have a chance, provided that they can do some things offensively.
Yeah, handle is a big term for that. That's the best offensive line in the country, as you point out. The only thing that you got going for you is if Nick Saban doesn't get a digital watch. If he gets a digital watch and can actually tell the time when he's got timeouts left, doesn't use them, you could be in for trouble. I've never seen that. Was a horrible clock management example of taking those 2 timeouts to halftime. Horrible. And, it bound to getting a field goal win the game, but in the end, it could have cost him the game.
Well, again, the guy on the other sideline didn't do too good of a job with handling the clock.
Well, he said he got what he wanted. Now, I will say Rick said he got what he wanted. He didn't want to clock the ball. He said we're trained in this situation. In basketball, a lot of coaches don't want to call timeout with the last 15 seconds. Let them play through it. He said he got the look he wanted. If he clocked the ball, he gave Alabama a chance to substitute, and he was supposed to throw the ball in the end zone, which is either catch it or stop the clock, and of course the ball was tipped. Now, I tend to agree with you. I think it's been better to clock it and throw it. But he said that's what they were supposed to do, and the kid made a mistake catching the ball, but you can't blame him. What do you do when the ball's thrown to you? Taught to catch it.
Yeah, and again, that was a great. In games like that, you have it's a matter of who makes the play at the right time. You know, the first time the Notre Dame and Alabama met. There were two big plays in 1973 when they played in the old Tulane Stadium in the old Sugar Bowl on New Year's Eve, 1973.
And you know who was there, don't you? Me.
Were you there, sir?
Yes, I was.
Yes, and so we were separated by probably half a football field. If you were in the press box, I was in the middle of the end zone, drinking Dixie beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Berra versus Era.
That's right, Era against Bear. And what it was great about the game was the big two plays Notre Dame made were the pass that Clemens eventually threw up, and that Dave Casper out-leaped three guys to make a catch on the drive where they go down and kick the eventual winning field goal, Bob Thomas.
And nobody thought he was going to pass the ball. Nobody. I didn't. Totally caught him by surprise.
And the play out of the end zone to Robin Weber.
Right.
You know, and you're right. Nobody thought that was going to run the football, except Era knew that was the play to call.
Yeah.
And so and he had the people who could, he had a quarterback in Tom Clemens who was wise enough to know that he could look off Weber and go somewhere else, because they were, or look off Casper and go somewhere else and went to Weber. But, that was, I guess it's one of the greatest games that I've ever seen.
It was a great football game.
A lot of, and it was back and forth, and it would be great if we get one of those again on January 7th.
John, thanks for your time. We'll be talking to you a little bit more down the line as we get ready for the big game coming up between the Tide and the Irish. Thanks a lot, John Finneran.
All right, buddy. You take care.
All right, John Finneran. He's a happy camper. By the way, I got a sports tweet to give you. David Fox says, Rex says he believes in all three quarterbacks. Yes, and I believe in Santa Claus. Take a break, come back. We'll be joined by Franz Beard for the Monday Gator Report on Tuesday, right here on
1370 AM, 96.7 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com.
Every day we hear another story about innovation or about cutting-edge technology taking place right here in Ocala. The power plant, IHMC, Ocala 489. Did you know that important medical research is also being conducted here that may impact hundreds of thousands of people in the country someday? Maybe you've heard the name Renstar, but like so many others, perhaps you didn't realize that Renstar Medical Research is one of the top facilities of its kind anywhere in the U.S. There are important research studies being conducted by a highly qualified team of medical experts at Renstar, impacting decisions of major pharmaceutical companies and bringing new drugs to market. And you can be a part of these studies, as so many local people have done and are currently doing. Renstar has conducted more than 500 studies since its inception and would like to extend the opportunity to you to be a part of these cutting-edge programs. Call 877-629-5800 or 352-629-5800 if you'd like to know more. Renstar Medical Research, locally owned and operated in beautiful downtown Ocala. Renstar, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Recently, I had a great conversation with General Manager Pat Murray on the special events at Country Club of Ocala.
We have a lot of special events here that are geared towards the family. Easter comes to mind. We have an Easter bunny who hops around on the driving range, and we usually hide somewhere in a neighborhood of 3,000 eggs and turn them loose and let them go harvest the eggs. We have a great family celebration here on the 4th of July where it's a traditional cookout, if you will, and as the sun goes down, the driving range becomes alive with probably one of the better fireworks displays in the area. Breakfast with Santa is a big deal.
Country Club of Ocala, where the Easter Bunny, Santa, and all the children, large and small, are a big deal on every special occasion. For more information, call 352-237-6644. That's 352-237-6644. Country Club of Ocala, proud sponsor of the Monday Gator Report right here on The Source.
1370 WOCA.
On the next AM Ocala Live, Robin and I will be speaking to Rebecca Viges, coming out to speak about the book Cold Case, Sleeping Dogs Lie, the second book in the Mary McVannell series.
Richard Paul Evans, the king of Christmas fiction, will be on the air with his new book, A Winter Dream.
And then Open for Debate, where we get to debate something that is in the news.
David Ortman and Richard Sprott will be on the air speaking about their new book, Sexual Outsiders.
And then Rabbi Yossi Hecht will be on. He's the rabbi of Chabad Lubavitch Jewish Center of Marion County, coming out to speak to us about Hanukkah.
Dr. Donna Kamor is a contributor to The View. She'll be speaking about the new national campaign for restless leg syndrome called Choose Your Move.
And then Troy Duell will be with us. He's a researcher and a developer of effective natural protocols for prostate health.
Have all of your legal questions answered by attorney John Fuller on Legally Yours.
From the top of your head to the tip of your toe, it's the Head to Toe Care Show with your host, Dr. Riyad Fakori. All of that plus Fun with Joe right here on The Source, WOCA 96.7 FM.
1370 AM.
If you want to avoid getting ripped off and put more money in your pocket, then join me, Clark Howard, every weeknight at 6, right here on WOCA, The Source.
We have Lena on the phone.
Hi, this is Lena with ABC Fredericks Appliance. We service all makes and models and warranty our work and our used appliances, from Maytag to Whirlpool, Crosley, and Speed Queen. So stop in at ABC Fredericks Appliance to see our showroom 1/8 of a mile from the tracks on County Road 25 in Bellevue, or call 347-2781. That's 347-2781. That's 1/8 of a mile from the tracks on County Road 25 in Bellevue. ABC Fredericks Appliance.
Great talking to you again, Lena. See you at ABC Fredericks Appliance.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Happy holidays from all of us at WOCA.
WOCA, Ocala.
I went back to the program. Franz Beard, under the weather, agreed to join us for a couple minutes to catch us up on a few things regarding the Gators, former Gators, and coaching carousel, and things are popping. And Franz, we heard about Steve Adazio going to Boston College. Brent Bielema.
Good hire.
Brent, that wasn't shocking me. It's Brent Bielema going to Arkansas.
Well, this is a guy that last year, just ripped Urban Meyer and said, well, this is the Big Ten. We don't operate like the SEC does. We don't ever want to be like the SEC. Mm-hmm. And first chance he got, he goes there. That's a dumb hire for, his formula to work is big, his big power game, et cetera, like that. You're not going to get those athletes at Arkansas that he gets to run that at Wisconsin. Just not going to happen. It's going to be interesting to see how that works.
Before we get into the coaching changes in the situation at Tennessee, which I've talked about a little bit today, and I know you got some information too. So we have similar sources. And let's talk for a moment about the matchup. We know all about Alabama. Obviously, Notre Dame is, as I said, the game that America wants. We know about Georgia getting left at the dance, not getting in. We know about the Wisconsin. We know about the Northern Illinois game. Them playing against the Noles, and they may win that game. Who knows? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the matchup between Louisville and Florida hasn't been talked about very much. Charlie Strong's defense is not typical of Charlie Strong. He's given some points up this year. The question is, can they play with Florida? I know Teddy Bridgewater has had his moments, came off the bench with a broken or hurt wrist to rescue him last week. But the question is, what do you think of that matchup?
I think Florida should be favored by anywhere from 15 to 18 points. Yeah. I think Florida can run the ball on an undersized defense. Now, I realize Charlie's got 30 days to get ready for him. And, he's pretty good. As we saw with Oklahoma, give him 30 days, he can kind of figure things out. He's pretty good at that.
Yeah.
But just the same, I think Florida's big offensive line, pounding on an offensive line that averages about 275, 280, I think that's just a little too much. And I think the Gators would wear them down. I think Louisville's good for about a good half of football, and I think the second half will be all Florida.
All right. Let's talk coaches for a second. As I said, a lot of news today. Tennessee was the most desirable job It was open, and the other guys are filling below him. If in fact this all works out like they say it is now, with Malzahn apparently going to Auburn is expected, and be able to go into Arkansas. They're falling, chips are falling, but no Tennessee. And I know we have a mutual friend who shall go nameless up there, who's really kind of worried that whether or not Tennessee's days are numbered and that their program is going down the tube, and they're looking at ways to change that. And I was asked by that friend, do you really think Charlie Strong would leave Louisville to come to Tennessee? And I said, dude, it's Tennessee, right?
The thing about it is Tennessee. It's 106,000 seats at Neyland Stadium. It is a fan base that is dying to get excited again. And as we found out, Charlie Strong is a guy that can bring that excitement. He is a rock solid guy, and unlike the guys that they've had in the last couple of hires they've had. I mean, we certainly know Lane Kiffin wasn't rock solid, and Derek Dooley had the resume, but didn't have the ability to back up the resume, or the name, or whatever you want to call it. Charlie Strong will go in there, and he will take all that stuff he learned from coaching under Charlie Pell and under Lou Holtz and under Bob Davey and people like that, and Urban Meyer, and he will form his own plan, and it will be rock solid, and it will work at Tennessee.
Well,
and that's going to be a great hire.
And if it in fact does happen, and I know that there was some interest at one point, Auburn had it in Charlie Strong. They've obviously got their man, and it will be a big loss for Louisville, whose program is now getting some, big boost by going to the ACC. And I think Charlie makes about a little over $2 million a year, with a $3 million bonus at the end of his contract, which amounts to $18 million if you figure if he stays there. But the good thing about his contract is he gets $2.3 a year, but it's backloaded. So if the buyout, you don't have to pay anything, but the 2.3, and so the bonus doesn't factor in. So I'm told the buyout for Strong would be much easier because of that.
Well, Tennessee, I've been told by a couple of very strong Tennessee boosters who money is no object for them, and they say money is no object for the program. They say that will not factor in this. I think what is going to factor in it is, I think Dave Hart is looking at the fact that he has got to have somebody that can energize the recruiting base, and Charlie Strong is a lights-out recruiter. We saw that when he was
South Florida, very strong, yeah.
We saw that in Florida. We've seen it at Louisville, and we also know this about him. He is a great disciplinarian. We saw that. We've seen that with how he did it at Louisville, and we saw how discipline kind of went the way of the 5-cent cigar when he left at Florida. He was urban strong arm, the guy. Mm-hmm. He was the Mr. Discipline, and if Tennessee gets him, they get what they need. They get a disciplinarian who's a young African American guy that's going to appeal to young African American kids, and he will excite their fan base. They will embrace Charlie Strong.
Got 15 seconds worth of basketball. The Gators rank number 6 in the country now, and they've won their first